Welcome in, everybody. It's APAC. It's the first open for the Birmingham Major, and I'm your familiar grizzled face around these parts, but this time my co-caster is somebody new. It's SirPigasus, and SirPigasus, we have Team DEKUBOPDUMNEM on deck today in the top 16 for APAC.
Wow, what a fantastic team this is on paper, as are our opponents as well. In all fairness, it's a full Finnish roster here in APAC. So, of course, I feel like we're coming into this Quanzek as a little bit of the villains, which, well,
Yeah.
if you've spoken to anyone on the team of this roster, you'd know that they are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, especially Dansku. I've had quite a few interactions with him. He is amazing, but I think people are going to be looking at this particular team stream with a bit of snide behind it. Of course, there have been talks about SSA and the amount of imports they've had. APAC seemingly having that be the situation as well this season. And I tell you what, we are one of them this time. It's a full Finnish roster all the way up north, of course, here in the great continent of Europe, fighting alongside a little bit more eastern in APAC. But for this first matchup, we don't really have to worry too much about being those villains, because we are playing a team which has two other Finnish talents, of course, very recognizable name in the form of Renshira. Alongside him is FNSI, I'm just going to say that. All paired with a Mina player. Very interesting team comp coming from that side.
Yeah, and, that's as the imports is what the Rocket League community has decided to name the players that are playing in a region that's not their own. Usually you have to account for the ping difference, but in this case, everybody should be on more or less a level playing field, and so we'll get to see these players take the pitch in what would be a normal matchup, just one that, they'll be playing on maybe 140 ping altogether. So I do like the way you phrased it, of the enemies coming into the villains rather in the APAC scene. But with the rule change, everybody's just trying to get in where they fit in, and hopefully at the end of the day, the regions, specifically APAC and SSA, that have been flooded by these teams, just get lifted up all together. The region grows in skill, and I think it's only a matter of time. Maybe we'll see it this year, where we get some APAC or SSA team that has some massive upset at some major. I think it's only a matter of time here, SirPigasus.
And well, this has been a season which has been no stranger to upsets, especially in the APAC region. I do just want to quickly mention a certain Sensor Esports, which has had quite the run recently, and we'll keep this conversation solely to their performances in this specific open. Of course, able to take down Elevate, completely shocked the world when that happened. Of course, we're both casters for something run by our good friends over at Redirect, those Redirect monthlies, of which these players actually have featured in before and had fantastic performances. So we kind of had a bit of a spoiler beforehand that they were a pretty strong team before the rest of the world got to see them. And well, of course, it's interesting that they were able to take down such an insane roster of the form of Elevate. I mean, on paper, Foe, Ocelon, and Maxu, these are very well-established players that have been in the scene for quite some time now. So it's not just Sensor Esports came in, they made main event, and that was special on its own. They got a bunch of wins. They did it against some pretty insane teams on the way, and very interesting to see how that team unfolds as well. I believe they also have a team stream running. And speaking of this one, our game is going to have a slight delay. I believe we're going to start at 40 past due to a prayer break from one of the opponents, of which, of course, both teams are going to be respecting. Either way, when that game is underway, I'm very excited to see how it unfolds. There's been this big storyline as well of just APAC versus the world, and I feel like at the moment we've just got two, of course, European gladiators coming together to try and be that big matchup against some of these other APAC sides here in the upper brackets.
And, I feel like at this point, with the norm that we've established in the minor regions, any press is good press. The attention you can get on your name, no matter how you get it, I think is going to be positive. it may not come with the most. I mean, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for myself right now. We've seen the type of feedback that Team Mobula has gotten in SSA, especially for their return after they were gonna go on their quote unquote world tour. So maybe I'm eating my own words right now. But with that being said, it is European metal that we will be seeing on the pitch to start, plus the one Mina player. I don't want to leave out them. Do believe it's better off for us to cut to a short break with the action coming in about 15 minutes from now. So we will go ahead and dip for probably about 10, jump back in at the tail end, give you a little more details about this series upcoming specifically as opposed to the tall tale. But who knows? Maybe we'll see more upsets. Maybe we'll see some more action. Maybe we'll see Sensei Esports take the storm yet again because they've been in nothing but the news come the first open for APAC. But with that being said, we'll be right back. You got time to grab a snack. You got time to grab a drink. No more than that. Be right back here in about 12 minutes. We're back. Just a little short hiatus, and while we were off on the break, I realized that I did not do the glorious man that is in the booth with me justice. Everybody, hey, this man deserves all the praise in the world. SirPigasus, grade S caster. He is phenomenal. He will put on a show for you today. I am so thankful to be joined by him, and I cannot. I mean, I just met this dude a month ago, and he is already elite in my mind, and I can't wait for our friendship to bloom. So, Pig, I just want to give a huge thank you to you for joining me in the booth in the first place, and additionally, blessing everybody with the voice that you have.
Thank you. Honestly, I could say the same thing back, and don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't begging him for that intro during the break we just had, which is what it suspiciously looks like as we transfer back over to the live screen.
I'm blinking. Do you
I
see
can
me
assure you
blinking?
that was
I
not
need
the
help.
case. But no, it's an absolute pleasure to be here and alongside you, Quanzek. Of course, like you said, met a month ago on the Redirect broadcast. No, actually, it was Godalians first before Redirect.
Yes.
I think actually, and well, I hope to get plenty more casts alongside you because honestly, all those compliments I could throw right back and more, and well, I could throw a lot of compliments to the team that we're casting today as well. The first round should be going underway any minute now. Of course, it's DEKUBOPDUMNEM. This is going to be a bit of a tongue twister and a bit of in the faster sections of the game, taking on a lot easier of a name to pronounce in the form of rounds, but we'll see if they'll be able to match us on the pitch. They did match us in the Swiss stage, of course, both of us going 3-1. But what I thought was really interesting when I was looking at this, Quanzek, is in the final round, Rounds played a team called Small Esports. They unfortunately did not qualify. They went out in that final round, of course, because Rounds beat them. However, that was a team that got one of their 2 victories against the team we cast today. Round 1, it was DEKUBOPDUMNEM versus Small Esports. A game 4 loss in that opener, and I'm interested to see if that's anything that I should be reading to in this first series as someone who was on that team stream.
Yeah, and the signs of a good caster, you're doing your research before you're going to begin your coverage. I'll be honest, when we covered Swiss Stage on Sunday for DEKUBOPDUMNEM, I thought they played phenomenally outside of the first series and their first couple of games. When this team wasn't shooting themselves in the foot, They were elite, they were speedy, they were fast, they were playing their game, and the amount of pressure they were sinking onto the opposition's net, it was suffocating. That first series, it was a very slow start, and as the day progressed, the team warmed up and got better. But I think they know what to look out for this time around, hopefully. But that is what came back to bite us. It wasn't necessarily, and all credit to Small. I don't want to talk down on them, but I do think it was more of DEKUBOPDUMNEM playing down, and just not having the type of game that they should have.
Unfortunately, it looks like we can't give the fairest analysis actually for this team when they did play against Rounds. I'm hearing here about one of their main players was actually unavailable for the last 2 games, and with them meeting in round 4, that would mean that their substitute was playing in that series. So that's very unfortunate for the players, of which actually had quite a decent run. They went to game 5 against both Hex Tech and Revenue Redeemers with their main team. Of course, Revenue Redeemers, a team that was able to squeak their way into the top 16 with a 3-2 record, being their, I mean, only other loss realistically, with their main roster. So a bit of a brutal situation to be in, of course, but I think, if anything, it's quite good that the players managed to get that test in the first round and were able to get themselves a loss. And I know that seems crazy to say when it comes out loud, but I feel like for a lot of these teams, getting that series loss just can kind of make you lock in a little bit. And we were actually discussing it off the broadcast during this little bit of a break. I mean, of course, Elevate are Elevates, and they are always going to be taking down quite a lot of these teams in APAC with confidence, like we said before, with the experience on that roster. But you just saw something change in them after that loss to Senza Esports, where, yes, they already looked so strong before that series against other rosters, but past that, it was like a beast awoke inside them. You'd poked the bear, and all of a sudden, not only were they back to former glories, they were a level above that, even taking the likes of Luminosity Gaming to a Game 5 victory in round 2 of their Swiss, and of course going 3-0. I feel like us actually getting that loss actually did help the team go forth to win their next 3 series, and well, this is time to try and make it 4 in what has been a new format this season that we were also talking about off stream, but I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I want to chime in and just, throw in a little stats to go with it. Elevate lost to Senza, who has since erupted onto the scene for multiple different reasons. Check my Twitter for all of the recent news on that, or just do a search. You can probably find it. They've been circling everywhere. With that being said, Elevate, since that loss, has not dropped a series and are 14-2 in their, 12-2 in their following games, which is incredible given the difference there. That you lose a series and you just don't look back. So I do agree with you. It's sort of a wake-up call, and I feel like in the esports scene, more so than anywhere else, there can be a lot of overinflation of your own estimations on how well you will do, and your expectations sometimes need to be humbled for you to regain and get back on track, not be complacent in these series. And so, with that being said, I don't know if we want that wake-up call. There is less room to work with today than there would be in a Swiss stage. It is win 2 and you're through to the top 8, lose 2 and you're done for open number 1 here in APAC. So, a lot more on stake for these individual series that we'll be seeing between these 2 teams, and we are testing out things in the lobby, so series number 1 should be coming your way shortly, just ironing things out. We do have an admin today, which I wasn't expecting, so a lot of more formality around these parts here, Pegasus.
Yeah, and it's the first time this season, of course, for these players that would have been the case. Of course, this is open number 1 of what is going to be a 6 open season. This is all for qualification into the Birmingham Major. Of course, I'm very excited to be going to, and I hope that I might be able to meet some of you guys in chat as well when that time comes. Of course, DEKUBOPDUMNEM looked like a very strong team actually in APAC. When I saw this team originally listed, I was completely shocked. So of course these are three top Finnish players, and Finland just has so much talent. I mean, we're going to see it on the pitch in the next series. 5 out of 6 players there will be from Finland, and in fact, I believe a substitute of our opponents, Jerku, is Finnish as well. But Porsas, Regsa, and Dansku, I really do not think you can ask for more there. I mean, Dansku, especially recently, has been grinding so hard. It feels like he plays every single tournament he can, bubble or otherwise. Of course, Rexa and Porsas, I think their names speak for themselves as well. If you've been watching around EU for quite some time, and to see them coming together here for this season, firming the ping, as they would say, here in the Asia Pacific region, and putting in such a good competition, leaves me so intrigued with actually how far this team can go. I would say that as far as the brackets go between Group A and Group B, I would probably edge to favoring this one for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. I mean, having Elevate, Luminosity, and Senza Esports all in one group seems extremely tense on that side. In fact, at the moment, I believe it is confirmed that Luminosity will be playing Senza for qualification in the upper bracket semis, and Elevator are just waiting for their opponents after what was a fairly quick sweep against Overlooked. I mean, that other group looks absolutely insane, but that's not to say that there isn't big competition here. I would say that it's a bit more compressed here. I feel like the top and the bottom are a bit closer together. There's going to be a lot more game 4s, game 5s, I would say, in this group. You've got the likes of Free Rats, who, of course, are one of the favorite teams here overall in APAC. You've of course got Zero Sec as well, which managed to go 3-0 in Swiss, and that is another just insanely strong roster. Godspeed, that's of course the Sigma Boys team that recently got picked up. I feel like APAC this season is filled with so much talent, and one of the teams I haven't mentioned actually managed to take a win off Free Rat. It is currently 1-1 in series score according to Liquipedia. AL7, which I believe is a full MENA team, taking a game off. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Definitely some deja vu from SSA casting last season, but somehow just to a completely different level. I mean, I'm seeing EU, I'm seeing MENA, I'm seeing very recognizable names all around. It feels like an all-stars region, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and to be honest, I'm trying to think here about how I could say it better than what you have just had. I'm just like it says, you are such a wordsmith, man. I am amazed by the way you formulate your senses. But I think compressed is the right word to use. We did draw the quote unquote longer stick in terms of the two different brackets that we're seeing in the top 16 to determine who the top 8 are. With that being said, since it is more compressed over here in bracket number B, I think it leaves room to a lot more upsets. And as you said, games 4, games 5, we're going to see especially Elevate and Luminosity and Senza apparently run the table over there on the opposite side. And it feels like that's more of a fight for a massive upset over one of those 3, or you're really just playing for that 4th seed to sneak in there. Over here, it does feel like it's way more up for grabs for any one of these rosters. I know DEKUBOPDUMNEM have done well to get themselves here. I personally have them going through. I know a couple others do. Ped has mentioned us on a couple of podcasts, on a couple of tweets that have gone out, and he has been the Herald APAC expert here. Although if you see him in the online sphere, don't mention Elevate around him. That dude is the certified Elevate hater. He will go to war to prove to you that they don't deserve to be in the conversations for a major spot. So take that as you will. We're still yet to see who the behemoths are over here in APAC. DEKUBOPDUMNEM hoping to prove their worth. And I thought we were getting ready to go into a lobby, but I'm sitting back here not loaded in, and so I don't know what the hiccup is. Everybody else in the bracket, I'm sure will be very upset with our series because we have.
If we were not the villains already.
Yeah, yeah, it's not by nature.
But
of
also,
import.
to be fairness, we had a perfectly good reason why this series was delayed, and I'm sure that when the other teams become aware of why that is the point, I'm sure they'll understand. But if Elevate has 0 haters, Ped is no more, I think is a perfect way to sum up his predictions and his commentary so far in APAC. I don't know if you saw yesterday, Quanzek. I believe actually we were both tuned in at the same time. There was a stream over alongside Ground Zero and Melakheim, where they had a bunch of guests on, and they're starting an Asia Pacific podcast, and it was very reminiscent, personally, of just SSAing, just essaying. It's such a hard one to pronounce. That Greybeard's got going, where it's an amazing commentary, of course, on the SSA region as a whole. It's a brilliant podcast, and honestly, anyone here who wants a deeper understanding of APAC overall, all these names that we've mentioned here on stream, the likes of Ped, the likes of Melakheim, Ground Zero, there are more names there that you should look out for, because honestly, this is going to be a huge season for APAC. I think this is going to be a big step up, I'd say, in terms of content, when you've got people just that passionate in the scene, ready to promote it. And I will just say personally that for me, Ped has been excellent for APAC behind 100%. The scenes. Anyone who's a caster will know how hard he has worked, and I don't know how much of credit he wants me to share right now, but I'll tell you now, everyone in APAC at the moment likely has something to thank Ped for. And I feel like this podcast as well, which he was a part of, and he did a great rant, like we were just saying about Elevate, and was defending his predictions as well. Yeah, honestly, go check them out. I believe there's been quite an interesting predicament where Ped has been casting against his, of course, partner Melakheim on the other side of things in this group at the moment, which is a nice, fun bit of drama to be going on at the moment. But of course, the big drama that we have here on stream is going to be that Finnish showdown. I mean, these players are going to know each other. I think that's what's going to be so exciting. Chances are they've probably teamed together. I know typically in Europe, people in the same region do love to stick with each other, especially when it comes to France. I'm sure we've all recognized, but these teams should make it obvious that Finnish players tend to stick together as well. I know they've actually got their own tournaments as well, which it's not something that I believe exists here in England specifically. We don't really have a very high-profile regional tournaments, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the Scandinavian countries do in fact have that. But my eyes is going to be on that one MENA player, M6R, who's going to be a bit of a wild card here. Of course, his teammates will be very aware of him, but I'm not sure if DEKUBOPDUMNEM have had a taste of him yet.
Yeah, and I think just going into the game, as very familiar players that will be taking the pitch, so I think M6R has the opportunity to blow this up for really either team, based on their gameplay and how they, get into things. These teams have obviously done their research, but they're going to be much less familiar with M6R than they will be their counterparts, their Finnish lads on the other side of the pitch. So that will stand to be seen. I've just checked in to start and with the team, and apparently the other team has not checked in yet, which I thought they had. And so there's officially 6 minutes until a DQ. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if this is, a continued, prayer break. It does seem like we are underway and the DQ timer is going, so I'll keep you updated on that end. With that being said, I want to circle back around to what we were talking about earlier with they're called the podcast that Ground Zero's putting on. They're calling it Pacific Preview. and they're gearing it towards the tweet that I saw said all minor regions,
Ooh, wow.
which maybe includes OCE. Probably you can circle in SAM in there since they're touching the Pacific. SSA, I'm sure will be talked about, but I think
they had
that
Greybeard on.
yeah, they did have Greybeard on, but I think that will largely be left to saying SSAing to cover, because that is that primary podcast over there. I quickly shot them a message. I would love to be on just to chat. I know Ground Zero has heard that they have some interesting topics coming up, so any sort of information you want to get on the region, you can go there, and I will give my own praise to Ped as well. Dude's been my cheat sheet for APAC this season. I've followed APAC ever since like 2020 pretty closely. But as a quick refresher, I can go to his Twitter feed at any given time and see some updated tier list, see some banter with some org going on. So all the praise to him. As we're waiting for this game number 1, I wouldn't mind a DQ to boot. Stream probably wouldn't want it, because we might be sitting in either our faces, which as attractive as SirPigasus is, I know you guys are here to watch Rocket League, or the 160p Fortnite meme picture that DEKUBOPDUMNEM used as their team announcement for the greater part of an hour. So we shall see what this team stream ends up being. At worst, it's just time for me to banter with my good friend SirPigasus, who I'm still getting to know. There might be some of you in chat who know him more than I do. Okay. We have news. Donsku says they are ready. Yes! So we are at the timer, and we are getting a series and loading in as I speak right now. So I think we did a good job of buying time and bantering, given the circumstances. I didn't know this would be the situation, but we've been on for about 20 some odd minutes now, and I don't think we missed a beat anywhere in there. So props to us. That's a little pat on the back.
Oh, look, like we said before, your face is looking attractive, but DEKUBOPDUMNEM's gameplay might just take the cake. Maybe. I mean, it's a very high bar, of course, that you set out there, but I'm interested, again, to see how this unfolds. I will say that in our group, Godspeed have qualified to the upper bracket semi-finals after a sweep against Crazy Boys. 0 Sec were 2-0 up against their team. However, I have just seen an update. No, it hasn't quite gone through. Free Rats did also win their series. They will be the opponents for the winner here. If we do go down to lowers, I believe the team that we'll play against is already decided. Yeah,
AL7,
I think it's going to be AL7 to play against. And that was a team that was able to take a game off Free Rats, which in my opinion is pretty impressive on its own. Free Rats looking like such a strong roster, looking like one of the favorites, definitely one of those top teams that is going to cause a lot of damage. Fascinating so far in over here in APAC for the GSL stage. But yeah, loading into the game here, it is going to be, like we said, the 5 Finnish players and the MENA wildcard taking each other on. Of course, DEKUBOPDUMNEM, we want them to be able to take the victory. I believe they'll be able to take the victory, but there's potential for this to be a very close series as well. I think it's going to be a fight straight out of the gates. I think we are going to need our A game, maybe our S as well. What a battle this is going to be, and what a way to get yourself warmed up.
Yep, you guys heard the audio ticking for the Rocket League game start in the background. We are in the final stages of setting it up. The other team has asked for a test of the lobby before we get underway. They didn't like the server, so we're going to reset everything. This might be the most hoops I think I've gone through ever for a team stream, but we are almost there. I promise. We are almost there. Had I known I would have been on camera for this long, I would have done my hair and I would have trimmed my beard. But here we are. I think we are officially good to go. I'm waiting for word from the admin. Players are taking the pitch, and I think I can finally throw us over here after a very long wait. Pegasus, I will give you the opening call.
DEKUBOPDUMNEM versus round 1 here in APAC region. We get this party started. We'll start off with a goal against us in the first 3 seconds. But if you wanted high octane, high scoring action, 5 players that are all too familiar within each other, well, I think that's going to be the tale of this series. First goal will go for round. We'll see how quick the response can come back here from DEKUBOPDUMNEM.
It is unfortunately a rather, anticlimactic start to everything. It's a quick goal, so we have that. But, after as long of a delay as we had, I would have hoped for, 3 minutes of scoreless Rocket League. Just keep you could cut the tension with a knife, but they've broken that seal immediately, and it'll be DEKUBOPDUMNEM tasked with finding the equalizer here. Porsauce, first touch, has enough boot to find the flip reset. Connects, it's off the post and back out to Renshiro. A backflip save, keeps this one scoreless, still flutter over the crease yet again, and it'll be kept in the corner by Renshiro. So their first tall task on defense, they handle well.
But it was a big attack there as well, coming from DEKUBOPDUMNEM, knocking on the doors of those defenses, letting rounds know that they are going to have to be in peak performance to stop this team. That's on target from Dansku. Great save coming out here. Will bring the ball to the corner. Renshiro will be chasing this one forward. Not quite on target. Dansku will send it straight back, and it feels like there's been a bit of a momentum switch in the last 40 seconds. DEKUBOPDUMNEM fighting so hard to regain that equalizer, bring this game all square, get themselves into the series with the goal. I feel like the longer you go goalless, the more of a curse that can be. Dansku looking to break it early, but big save coming from Ryman.
Despite the scoreless 0 on the side of DEKUBOPDUMNEM, I'm happy with their gameplay. I mentioned in pregame that how they played is just suffocating pressure. How long has this ball been more towards the orange half through the first 2 minutes of this game? It is relentless, and yet again, they're immediately breaking in their half, looking for a transition play. That demo's going to slow things down, but this is the type of style that got them the leads in the Swiss stage. So it's only a matter of time before the defense break down, as that one's trying. Renshiro showing to be the defensive stalwart for rounds as they get their second epic save on the board. And this is going to lead to a goal on the back end. The rotation not fast enough, and threading the needle was going to be Ryman.
And that was a big 50-50 coming from Renshiro. What a unit he has been in this first game. Like we said, so solid in defense. DEKUBOPDUMNEM have had some fairly good attacks, and not get a goal out of them must feel unfortunate, because it feels like against any other opponent, maybe they'd be able to break through, and then to have that counter punch be thrown back after what was a perfect 50-50 from Renshiro, it'd be a bit of a punch in the gut. We have just crossed that halfway point of this first game, still goalless for DEKUBOPDUMNEM, but rounds really have shown themselves, especially in defense. It's been a counter-attacking affair for the majority of this game, yet they've been able to keep themselves on top. And if this is going to be the style that they continue to play with, DEKUBOPDUMNEM are going to have to try something new. That is an unfortunate way to see the third, and well, that job just got a lot tougher, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch as well, because the mental battles that may apply could make the difference.
100%. Wrong place, wrong time there. If you are Regser, maybe you can recognize that they really only have one place to put that ball, but regardless, the third will fall down all the same, no matter how it goes in. They do carry the same point value. So 3-0 will be the deficit on the board for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. Here we are looking to get back into it. Porsauce trying to find that flip reset off the corner. Did generate an opportunity, but they have yet to break this defense. They've been very stoic in front of the orange net that of rounds, and I don't think they're looking to break it anytime soon. At this point, they can afford to turtle up, and,
Ooh.
I say that. They don't want to. There's a fourth that will be tallied.
And, well, it flies in here, and again, it's been that star man, Renshiro, and what a sneaky little shot that is. It looked like he was going to go for that bottom right corner. It was the only real open area of the pitch at the time he took that shot. You saw that overcommit come from Dansku, and he just about wasn't able to recover himself. That one sneaks under. And well, that's just what Renshiro brings to the pitch, of course, is known for his 1v1s. I'm sure we can all picture that image in our heads. And of course, with that, brings amazing talents when it comes to 50-50s, being able to place the ball perfectly as well, and just be that extra step ahead in a 1v1 situation against the goalkeeper. It felt like he was in that circumstance, and again, it feels like a slow start, just like in the Swiss stage coming from DEKUBOPDUMNEM, but there are less chances in the GSL and overall tougher competition. So I'm going to be having my fingers crossed here that things will start to turn around. And well, if there was a team of players that I could believe to do that, it would be these three. I feel like they have thrown away this first game, and I feel like we're not going to see much more of a turnaround in these final 36 seconds. But if I were them, I think this would be a moment that calls for series management. I would just look to put the head back in straight. Of course, they had a bit of a delay that wasn't accounted for, and now throwing themselves back into it. Now they're in the thick of the action. I feel like they need to get themselves back into that game time mentality, just like we saw in the Swiss stage, and just like I'm seeing from Regza.
Yeah, it's a good goal to get on the board and just get a little more momentum in your favor. Know that you can score against this team. Unfortunately, I mean, you did take the words right out of my mouth. This is a very slow start, akin to what we saw of them in the Swiss stage, and really just it was bad tidings until their gameplay completely changed. And I saw glimpses of that here, of what we saw in the Swiss stage, where they performed admirably, but just on the wrong foot to begin things off today. We're seeing a couple of errors, and that one, you know, I'm not going to fault them for it. As a 6 will fall in, they're obviously sitting the house in the hopes to find anything in the waning seconds of this game. But at this point, if it wasn't clear before, use this 5 seconds in the intermission, reset your mental, reset your plan, head into game number 2, and along with that, maybe a quick little mental check, just to realign yourselves, because as we've said several times up to this point, the stakes are significantly higher here in the GSL.
Cool.
And hey, that's a good start.
Yeah, cheeky little passing play to finish off this game, and I feel like getting that last goal is so good for the mental. Yet again, we were saying that that was such a big factor right now in the opening stages of this series, and I feel like being able to get such a clean passing play between them, I hope there were shouts coming from that VC between the players, and lots of confidence being shown. Of course, the pings are going to look high here on screen, but that is what happens when you have a bunch of Europeans and one MENA player playing on these APAC servers. Do see that orange triangle right next to Dansku's name. However, 6 shots alongside him and 2 assists as well suggests that it's not having too much of a negative effect on him, especially early in that game during that second minute. Flip reset attempt, shot after shot after shot were sent forward, but as you can see up there, Renshiro just too tough to beat. What a game he had.
Yeah, I mean, the defense that we saw from Renshiro, more than anything, he was constantly that third man for the round's defense. And even just to start, pocketed a couple of epic saves, and you see him tallying 4. So while the shot totals massively in favor of DEKUBOPDUMNEM, the scoreline wasn't. So whether that be generating more high opportunity scoring chances on the opposite end, where, you know, it's not just a shot you're floating towards the net, but something that actually challenges the keeper, which in this case was Renshiro, who collected saves of his own, or shoring up the back line. No matter the thought process is, it's probably both, in all honesty.
Yeah,
I think they fell short on both ends, and making those adjustments heading into game number 2 here will be crucial as we get ready to take the pitch. You know, putting yourself down in a hole to start, an 0-2 deficit, devastating in the best of 5, especially one with the stakes that this carries.
Absolutely. In my head, this does feel like a must-win game, especially with the nature of that first game. Maybe if it was within 1 goal, I would have more confidence that even if this game fell, that you'd be able to get yourself that reverse sweep. But with the first game being so one-sided, it still feels like DEKUBOPDUMNEM still have a bit of a way to go to get themselves back into this series. So if I don't see a very quick increase in play coming from this second game, I would stand a little bit concerned. However, that's not to say that first game didn't have chances. Dansku especially sending shots after shot after shot against the round. It was unfortunate that he wasn't able to beat that final defense. And I feel like they just need to get that one goal before the deficit gets too wide. I feel like in that last game, it already felt like things were a bit too much of a climb too early when rounds were able to make it 2-0. They will make it 1 this time. More time passed compared to that first game, of course, where it was 3 seconds before we saw that opener off kickoff. But again, I feel like DEKUBOPDUMNEM want that next goal at least in between the next 2 minutes. I feel like I would give him confidence-wise. Porsas, however, to try and do it in seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you like the look that they're giving the net, like the solo individual mechanical plays. We've seen a couple of passing plays. I saw this a couple of times out of them in the Swiss stage, but just a lot of uncharacteristic mechanical mistakes. I mean, on that first goal, there were 2 challengers on that ball, and neither one of them could really make contact. That one dangerous from Dansku, who has to use his own 4th man in the post. Uses the woodwork to get that one back out of his own crease, and as it stands right now, they are set back in their deep third. Regser booming clear all the way down, forces an aerial from FNSE. I apologize if that's not how you pronounce that, but that's what I'm going to roll with. This one setting across from Ryomen. Dansku lying in the way. It's going to watch Regser sink up to it, and there's the tap off the ceiling. It is a lofted shot towards the net, but that one is not going to break through the defense. Maybe the demo does. If you can't score on those shots, just remove the defender. I like the aggression mindset change. Maybe this is it for the equalizer. They still can't break through with a coming back save from Ryomen.
This defense is just impeccable. I've not seen anything quite like it before. Rounds doing so well to hold on. They are soaking up so much pressure in this second game, and that was a similar pattern in the first one. Before the game started to run away and it felt like it was over, DEKUBOPDUMNEM had basically accepted defeat. It was the same circumstance where I would say the majority of the attack was actually coming from the blue side, but rounds on the counter were just so dangerous and they were not letting anything seep through. And they do say that goals will win you games, defense will win you championships. Rounds championship winning defense so far. The shots, however, also following. Porsas has to try and clean this one up. Dansku on the overlap has a little bit of boost in the tank to try and follow up this one. However, the ball hard to keep up with, and we have Ryomen waiting so close onto this one. Porsas gets it just about coming off that back haul after that 50-50. Regser aggressive on the follow-up. Dansku waiting in back corner. But again, big clearances coming out. Siphoning to the corners here are rounds, and DEKUBOPDUMNEM desperately trying to get it back into the center. Regser prevents that ball from crossing that halfway line. Does not want to concede another counter-attack. This is Dansku's chance. Demo's following up. Porsas to the center. There's space as Regser gets that goal and brings this game back to a 0-goal difference.
The fluidity of that equalizer is what I'm looking at here. The first shot doesn't find its way in, but the ricochet, the rebound, quickly collected by DEKUBOPDUMNEM, followed up by a demo of the second man waiting patiently in net, makes the rotation too slow to get there. That's exactly what we are expecting out of this team, and they do well to equalize here. This is a much different 3.5-minute frame that we've seen thus far into game number 2. It is a fight, and as this clock continues to elapse, we're going to enter golden goal territory, which, if you looked at game 1, you wouldn't have expected that either way. Regser going for the double tap. The sidewall redirect, can't necessarily find it, but does find his own follow-up, just lofting in the air with no boost to collapse on that ball. Has to watch it sail over his head, but his team still has the pressure. It's Dansku towards the net, and Ryomen, another save on 0 boost, but Regser north of crossbar. Dansku yet again hits the same spot. No. They're going to make a dent in the crossbar, but the fourth one will find pay dirt.
The difference between these two teams is one extra finisher. Regser completes the pressure. All 3 players had their contributions in that attack. And for once, we see cracks on the sides of rounds as DEKUBOPDUMNEM have 40 seconds to try and bring this series back to equal.
Donsku, that's a very good touch to cut off the impending offense. Poor Sauce. I mean, it has to do whatever they can to keep them out of their half with the clock being where it's at. Just not allowing any sort of last second or 0 second shenanigans is going to be helpful. That's a good touch by Poor Sauce. Uses the wall to wave dash. Can't get the redirect back towards the middle. FNS rising to beat Rexer. He goes off the ceiling and back down. And Poor Sauce is there for the insurance.
And surely game 2 now is under 10 seconds. It would be so tough for rounds to try and make that comeback. Of course, they were able to score a kickoff goal within 3 seconds in game 1, but this isn't game 1. This isn't the same DEKUBOPDUMNEM. They look significantly stronger. They've brought the pressure back. They've brought this series back, and momentum feels firmly on their side. 0 seconds, ball hits the ground. DEKUBOPDUMNEM fight back.
And that's, you know, maybe this team, maybe we just have to learn to accept these slow starts from them. But regardless, the game 2 was what we hoped for. This is what game 1 should have been had they not let in a bunch of like sniper shots from round's own half, and additionally been able to break through. They kept that same pressure, but they were actually able to convert this time. They were able to generate goals, and we saw them get creative with it too. Rather than just taking those lofting shots on the net, they pelted the backboard. That backboard has to be bent out of shape in a couple of places with the number of times they hit it. They hit the post. It was intentional, made it look like a shot, only for it to turn into a pass to their own teammate. So DEKUBOPDUMNEM, they've done very well here to rebound and poise themselves to continue into the rest of the series, which at this point is now a best of 3.
And I feel like that this little break we're having in between game 2 and game 3 is that admin sitting in the lobby, getting out his hammer and evening out those dents on the backboard of rounds. It was a brutal offense coming out there. And I'm so glad that the players were able to just find those gaps this time and get themselves those 3 goals. I mean, 2 goals typically can be enough to win yourself a game. But in that opener, just in defense, it was a little bit weak coming from DEKUBOPDUMNEM. They conceded, like we said, a little bit too early. It was just not the case in the second. Yes, they conceded that first. It was after a full minute of some high-octane action. But then a light switch just went off there in the heads of the DEKUBOPDUMNEM side. And we just saw a completely different team. It took a full series for them to wake up in the Swiss stage. It only took 1 game, and we'll see if this can continue in the third. Already a pressuring ball there from Dansku. There was no chance of that one finding the back of the net, but still, Renshiro forced to find himself back and clear that one out. It was heavy-footed as well, as it did find the defense again of DEKUBOPDUMNEM, who are able to regroup themselves, and now they find themselves on the counter. Unfortunately not on target, but Dansku again applying that pressure, but Vice tightening up as Regza just sends that double tap wide.
I thought it was a good look, but he was trying to cherry pick the spot he had selected on the round's net. Ends up being just wide left of that short post. That one will bounce back off, but still though, they're not done yet. This one, I mean, look at that touch on the clearance coming off the ceiling is DEKUBOPDUMNEM in the perfect positioning to make sure this team has 0 breathing space. Look at how deep Regser is as the 3rd man. They finally break out, but they have no boost in order to generate any sort of extended offensive pressure. That'll be a good touch by Renstro. That'll turn into a shot, but Donska there will be there to collect. A little bit tricky, but at this rank, you would expect them to be able to garner those rather easily. Regser, 1 touch off the ceiling, won't necessarily meet Ryoman in time, so Donska's rotation has to hold firm. Vanessa, really good touch that goes over the top of one in that 50. Even better booming clear, though, from Poor Sauce, and they'll go ahead and flip the direction of the pitch that we're playing on. Donsku, 1 touch, chip over 2, can't get it past him.
You can see Poor Sauce playing quite high in this instance. They can smell the blood in the water. They can't see the boost bubbles like they can, but they've got that sixth sense. They've got that experience to know when a defense is running on fumes. This offense coming out of nowhere, and it felt like the one thing I was complimenting beforehand became the problem in the next play, as Porsas that time, he did most of the job rotating himself back. He had found himself so deep, but I think he turned a little bit early for that ball. Rounds able to find the breakaway, but again, such a close game, just like the second one. Still chances to break through. We haven't been able to get the first goal in the game for the entirety of the series, and that didn't stop us stealing victory in game 2. Why shouldn't that follow in the third, especially when you see Regsa on the ball challenging FNSI? Dansku has boost, has time, ball off the ceiling. His teammates will be calling position behind him, but Ryman will send this one out heavy. Regsa was waiting close. Porsas positioned perfectly this time for the counter. 2, 3, no 4. Dansku, as the second man, wanted to sneak his way through. And again, you can feel the slight panic here coming from Rounds. They know that DEKUBOPDUMNEM are suffocating them, and they're struggling to breathe under the pressure that Dansku is able to apply on them. Another opportunity when he can get himself that close first touch and just smoothly make his way home.
I love the way they got that goal too. Porsas ends up in the net with 0 boost after he takes that shot. It just parks the bus in front of the only defender that's left in the net. It says, hey, if you want to get this, you have to go through me. And go through him he did, but not in time before that ball goes off the crossbar. Back in, that's a mistake! But Rexer's there to sneak in time to get credit for the save. They'll hang on one piece. This one could actually turn to an opportunity the other way, off the crossbar and back out. Donskoy touch to himself, has to do what they can. Nothing in the tank. They're all out of juice, all out of gas. Has to run back to their own half, collecting pennies along the way. Here they come back along with a full tank of boost. Regser, infield pass to Donskoy. They're looking for that give and go, but it's intercepted by Retro. They get demoed for their efforts, but the pressure, this is what we come to expect. Regser, off the ceiling, off the ground, and it's a Goomba save almost by Ryoman that keeps Rounds in this one. Donskoy half flip save, and it's back and forth action on the pitch right now. Pegasus, 60 seconds on the clock.
Fingertip save there from Dansku, who looks slightly out of position. The recoveries were perfect, and now it's Porsas. He'll be sweeping the ball forward. Chance of the ceiling. Crossbar here. Regsa looking to complete the action. 50-50s only land. Neutral misses coming from both sides. It's a dangerous third here. 4 rounds as Dansku again pounces on another 50-50. Demos land. 2v3, but still FNSI does enough to shut it down. Dansku is high yet again. Oh my goodness. How do Rounds manage to survive these scenarios? They're not out the woods yet. Dansku will not let this one away easily. Regsa again on the 50. Awkward touch there coming from Ryman. Low boost all round. 10 seconds before they're forced back into an equal position. This one certainly favoring DEKUBOPDUMNEM. They don't want to waste it, but now it's 0 seconds and the floor is lava, and all of a sudden there's a tide shift. The boost economy back on the side of Rounds as it hits 0, but we survive. Head into overtime, and who is the favorite in this series? This is left to be decided. The timer goes up. Golden goal. Porsas on the ball in the first 10 seconds. And we've still got more play to go. Renshiro hits the post, and oh my goodness. Take a breath, lock in, and continue. Your job is not done yet.
Yeah, take a breath is right. We only had about 4 seconds and we won't have any more. Porsas with the dagger in overtime to seal the door shut in game number 3. Regser, a booming pass off the backboard. He has to be so excited. I'm speaking with a lisp. Ryoman can't come off the wall to catch it. It falls into the hands of his own teammate, and the goal will be buried in overtime. DEKUBOPDUMNEM hang on. They come in clutch when it matters most. And I am thrilled right now. I mean, that is such...
Oh my goodness.
What got me into casting in the first place was exciting Rocket League. Close games where I enjoy what I'm doing and I don't even think about talking. That was that game. Even better than that, DEKUBOPDUMNEM win a game number 3 in a best of 5. So they get 2 chances at a series point. So crucial in these games, especially when either side is as closely matched as these two are right now. The boys in blue currently for this series come out on top, and man,
wow.
In good fashion too, Pegasus.
Fantastic fashion as well. I mean, that took so much character to win that game, and I thought game 2 was going to be really tough after how the first went. Third somehow brought it to a different level where it felt like rounds were playing the best they have done so far in normal circumstances. So I'm going to say, you know, the first 2 minutes perhaps of that first game, and I'll write off the rest of it. They are just incredible in defense. I believe that was 14 shots versus 8 or something ridiculous in that last game. And I believe all those shots were basically on target coming from rounds as well. When they find themselves in that final third, they really do not waste any time. I think it was 7 saves total for both of those teams. And when that's coming from what I believe was around 8 shots as well from rounds, it just shows how accurate they are.
Oh,
and
I'm not even on the game.
How solid that defense came this time. A complete tonal shift to what we saw before. And hold on a minute, Quanzek. What have you been hiding from me?
Look. Production, not my strong suit. I was so caught. Listen. I'm sorry. I was so caught up.
We're in the lead.
I was so caught up with the banter, with you know, gloating in our game 3 win, that I saw the goal go in, I celebrated on cam, and then I realized we weren't even on the game. So that's my fault. It was a kickoff goal, a very good air dribble from Porsauce, I believe it was. No, Porsauce has an assist, so it must have not been... Look, I wasn't even looking that well. I know it was a good air dribble. I don't know who scored it. I am scrambling right now, but what matters is that DEKUBOPDUMNEM have not missed a beat. We're 40 seconds in, and look at that play, Pegasus! Oh my lord!
Well, thank goodness we got this one on the broadcast! Drop down pass from Dansku, and Rexa from the ceiling for the first 50-50 he went to somehow catches it for the goal. And DEKUBOPDUMNEM, I was just about to say before I believe this game had begun that this is match point win, and you're in the upper bracket finals. You're halfway there. 3 rats are waiting in the semi-finals, and if you got to be at the best of your abilities, you have to use this match against rounds as a warm-up. And when you score goals like that, let that confidence increase. Allow yourself to be in a perfect position when you face those tougher rosters. And most importantly, believe. Game 3, of course, you said it before, it was one of those moments that made you forget that you were casting. It made you feel like a fan. You forgot you were producing as well. This is what DEKUBOPDUMNEM can bring to a team stream. This is what they can bring to an audience. Their gameplay is something beautiful to watch, and the way that they can turn a series around is like no other. Great personalities as well, both in the competitive ways and in personal ways as well, and that has been in full show. Here we are in game 4, a 2-0 lead, a defense as well that sat in for quite some time, as I've been passionately speaking about this roster, of which there has been signs of danger, and finally one leaks its way in.
Yeah, DEKUBOPDUMNEM receive a little bit of a taste of their own medicine. I love their aggressive play style, but they were suffocated for this goal that goes in against them this time around. Couldn't break out of their half, which led to lower and lower boost totals. Eventually the lead will be cut in half, but we look to regain. We scored 2 for a reason, have a little bit of insurance. Dansku looking to get it right back. Actually ends up faking it for his own teammate. I think it was called off, but Porsauce either didn't make contact or heard Regser right behind him with a full tank of boost. No matter what the case was, it won't lead to a shot on target from us. Porsauce, though, trying to get this one into the middle. There's a centering ball that won't find its home. Rauman off the backboard and has help in Renstro. Portos going for a Psycho. An attempted clear. I don't think it was going for the net, just throwing to buy some time, and they'll do just that. Donskoy booms this ball back the other direction.
And Renshiro stays close, but Portos has managed to find that breakaway. Waiting close there was Regza again. Fortunately unable to find the target. It's so tough to try and find these gaps, especially at the near post when it comes to rounds. They like to keep it as close as possible in the corner. They like to maintain it there as long as possible. And for the most part, they've done an excellent job at that. DEKUBOPDUMNEM have had to get creative with getting this ball centrally. They did a great job, of course, in that third game. Of course, they did a great job for that second goal as well in this individual one. They'll go for it yet again. Portas finds the bottom left. A 2-goal difference with 1 minute and 40 seconds left puts them in such a favourable position now. Round really having the pressure applied on them now to fight back offensively. We've spoken about them in defense and how they've had to face onslaught after onslaught, barrage after barrage. It's got to be time for them to provide something of their own if they want sights of Game 5. Otherwise, we're going to be loading into an upper bracket semi-final sometime soon.
Donskoy. I mean, at this point, this team has been able to express their will following that game number 1, really whenever they won, as a save will be tried there for Portos. They'll challenge again, and Regster will look to chase down this ball. Can they get an angle? No, just going to opt to read that bounce off the backboard. Now reached at by Portos, and he'll step to it again as he's bullied in the corner off of that ball, off that touch. This man's still getting rocked around by the defense. Continuous bumps coming his way, but it's all in the name of possession. That is the name of the game right now for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. They have 50 minutes to kill until their ticket is booked into the upper side of the bracket. This one dangerously off the post, and a ricochet for now. We do have 2 goals to play with, but we don't want to concede one. Nobody touches it. It goes through 3 cars, and Renshiro has to slow down and be controlled on his own goal line to collect that ball.
And how brave there from Renshiro. Didn't flip into it, didn't panic, knows that he still technically has a game to play for. There is still time for rounds to try and cause a shock. This attack could be the start of it, and that could be the clearance from Donskoy that allows DEKUBOPDUMNEM to survive, to see them progress in the series. Renshiro with a big chance finds its way through, and I think we are in for the most nervy kickoff of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the stage is set 3-2 after a very well-positioned delayed 50 by Renshiro. Will a kickoff goal happen? What is the positioning? Any sort of shenanigans? Ryoman opts for the ball instead of the boost, but that enables Donskoy to sneak in here, and they have to go coast to coast for a 0-second goal. Only one more chance, and that takes them the length of the field, but Regzer has possession with the flip reset, trying to add insult to injury instead of just getting the ball down. They're playing with their food, but they will finally touch the turf. DEKUBOPDUMNEM, after a shaky game 1, rally back in a gentleman's sweep to win over the top of rounds 3-1. Woo!
I don't think we're going to get much of a break between Series 1 and Series 2, but my goodness, I wish we had one. An electric series between DEKUBOPDUMNEM and Rounds. I mean, people are going to see this as a 3-1 record on the Start GG, on the Liquipedia, and they are not going to know that full story. I mean, it was a pretty catastrophic game 1, I feel like is okay to say now, especially with how the rest of that series went. But we were talking about it before the broadcast, how, you know, sometimes a nudge in the right direction is needed. Sometimes you have to have a taste of defeat to know that actually you don't like how that feels on your tongue, and you never want that to happen again. And maybe you'll prevent that from ever happening again in the next few games. And that's exactly what we saw there from DEKUBOPDUMNEM, fighting for their lives as if it was already game 3 and they were 2-0 down from that point. And I feel like that was the right mentality to have. They treated every single game as if it was their last one, fought till the very end, and there was some tough positions they found themselves in as well. Round so dangerous on that quick counter. One save I think of particularly is that one by Dansky where he was caught a little bit out of position, a bit too far towards that front post, and I want to say it was Renshiro going for that shot, trying to sneak it behind him. And the reaction time he had to kill all his momentum, try and go for that half flip save, and have it just about tip the end of his nose. Was so impressive. And of course, to continue the play afterwards and be able to keep your cool, absolutely insane. And I'm so excited to see if they'll be able to carry on this momentum against what, on paper, is definitely going to be the tougher side today. Free Rats. I mean, they're a great roster. Of course, they went 3-0 in Swiss. Their victories, I'm just checking, were against the current Godspeed roster, formerly Sigma Boy. Hapursh as well, they were able to get a sweep against. And then finally, Revenue Redeemers, they went to 4 with, which is no joke of a team either. 3 Rats going into this. I mean, we mentioned before our good friend Ped placed this team extremely high on his tier list, and there is definitely a chance for us to see that in this semi-finals, but perhaps we can give it a little bit of a shake-up and cause an upset, just like APAC has been bringing us for the rest of this season in what has been a very short history. This is only Open 1, Quanzek.
Yes.
What kind of season of RLCS is this going to shape up to be?
I have no idea. But I'm not a big fan of drama, you know, so much so to a point where, like, my circle of friends is incredibly small, probably too small, that, like, people have just left my life for, you know, spurting up these sorts of things. I have gotten my fill in only a week since the season started, and there's like another 6 more months to go, my friend. So we are in for the long haul this season. DEKUBOPDUMNEM, I mean, they've booked their ticket to the next round, and the people who aren't on a long haul will be everybody watching, because we're going to be right back after this break. You guys saw how long it took to get the first series sorted, so or maybe top off your snack, hit a quick restroom break, but I want to give it more time than that. We will be right back. Don't you dare go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. I did say it was going to be a short break, so I hope you have gone nowhere. And if you have gone somewhere, we're at least on your phone now as opposed to your laptop and or computer. With how long that first series took to start and it going to a game 4, we were the last series of all the round 1s to finish, but we are getting ready here for series number 2, and there's really no time to wait. I believe we are live. I don't think this is going to be a test lobby. So it is going to be DEKUBOPDUMNEM versus 3 Rats. The overlay is not updated, so I will work on that under the preface of 3 Rats will be far and away the hardest team this roster has had to play yet this open.
Absolutely, and well, there's one name that I see there on the left side of my screen that is just staring at me, instilling a little bit of fear on my end, and it is, of course, the legendary LCT. Big performer here for 3 Rats. Every single season he gets himself involved, puts himself in a team that performs very highly. This is probably one of the teams that is going to be competing for basically top 4s every single time. I feel like that's fair to say. So strong on paper. They'll likely be able to show it here on the pitch, and DEKUBOPDUMNEM are just going to have to strike back and see if they can add another upset here to the APAC region. Dunsku will try and launch this first attack. We see poor Sus waiting in the corner. This one waterfills down, but K will very easily clear this one out. Regsa on the sidewall, and again, this is a full Asia Pacific roster as well on the side of 3 Rats. So, like we mentioned before here, Quanzek, definitely going to be perceived as the villains in this series. And well, like, I'm actually trying not to give a spoiler, but certain movie franchise, sometimes the villains do win. And this time, I'm happy to be on that side.
Yeah, I mean, as we are the villains in this matchup, we'll still have to earn our stripes regardless. Everybody knows this is a very talented, full APAC roster on the side of 3 Rats that really at this point should have an org to call home. And they're one of the contenders for the major spot in APAC, so they're no slouch on this end. With that being said, though, DEKUBOPDUMNEM playing their patented hyper-aggressive style that really is just clarified by how deep the third man plays. Look at Regster collecting both midfield pads, and they're constantly rotating through in the lower third of the opposition. As that's a insane save collected, but an even better follow-up by Poor Sauce, as DEKUBOPDUMNEM have not left the blue half and will get on the board first.
And well, this hasn't been historic in the first series. It felt like we were always the first team to concede, but here against tougher competition, just after that fantastic performance, those 3 game wins in a row, something has awoken in this team, and it's been a very strong opening. Of course, 3 Rats, again, have shown themselves defensively. It's felt like that has been the name of the game so far for all of our opponents, but the pressure that DEKUBOPDUMNEM are able to provide, it just shows here that it is tough for simply any roster they will be facing. You have to be on your aim game, you have to be super controlled in the defense, you've got to be super calm as well, because when those shots are rattling at you, you cannot afford to double commit. You might be thrown off the pitch as well. That can cause the tension to increase, and that was an interesting decision made there by Baller. You cannot have the ball on top of your car in those situations unless it is instant. I feel like they got away with not conceding that second immediately.
Yeah, I mean, they're lucky getting away without a second on the scoreboard there. And as we're waning down in the remaining seconds of this game, the physicality has seemed to take a massive uptick on the side of DEKUBOPDUMNEM. It does sound like they're almost in a little bit of a demolition derby as Regster tries LCT, but LCT gets the better of them in that matchup. Donsku, a crossfield pass over to Regster. They were waiting for the boost, but couldn't get it before the ball landed on their hood. So just going to do what they can in the corner. Donsku beats 2 with 1 touch. Doesn't have help, though. They're on an island offensively. K gonna go ahead and regroup, and this one now pumped at by 2 members of 3 Rats. It's a double commit. They do get the ball though, so maybe it might manifest into something. This is really just coalesced into a lot of back and forth play from either one of these rosters scrambling to do anything with the ball, but if we continue in this state, it only favors DEKUBOPDUMNEM as they currently have the lead.
Borsas looks to challenge here against LCT. K will follow up with this booming ball forward. Just about sees a player on his respawn. He has to get himself back in the action as quick as he can. LCT goes on a fake, and he did manage to pull it off, unfortunately for him. The follow-up just wasn't there, and now it's 20 seconds here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM just to hold on to this 1 goal lead. It's so sensitive, especially with this attack. Save after save here coming from Dansku. Borsas has a piece of the action as well as he clears this one up to a teammate. It's a great touch there as well coming from Dansku to allow Regsa to get the clear. Borsas wants to find the target one last time, but now the floor has to be the aim. Regsa will place it here, and DEKUBOPDUMNEM will get an opening victory against 3 Rats. However, and yes, Quanzek, there is a however, there has been an uncomfortable theme here in Group B, here in APAC.
Yeah.
DEKUBOPDUMNEM versus Rounds. Round 1 loss for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. They go on to win the next 3 games. And what happened on the other side of the bracket between 3 Rats and AL7? The exact same thing. 3 Rats dropping game 1 and winning the next 3. So if that curse were to continue here in the upper bracket in Group B, perhaps we shouldn't be celebrating right now, but that is if you're super superstitious. Me personally, that's not me. DEKUBOPDUMNEM looking strong and looking like realistic contenders to potentially cause what might be the biggest upset of the day if it was pulled off.
100%. I mean, this is a team that a lot of people have in 3 Rats fighting for that major spot between them, Luminosity, and the third, whoever you ask, that's going to change from name to name. Don't ask Ped, he will never name Elevate. I think Elevate should be in that mix. But where we're at now, it is a wary game 1 to win with the theme that you just mentioned. With that being said, however, what I like is that we didn't win. It didn't feel like a fluke win. Yes, it was close, but we didn't stumble our way into it off of some gimmick goal. We had a lot of pressure, definitely came away with way more shots on the scoreboard. And so I think we've earned our right to that win and hopefully have set ourselves up well to carry ourselves with poise through the rest of the series and book our ticket into the top 8.
And well, it's a marathon, not a sprint, even in these best of 5s. AL7 learned that, Rounds learned that, DEKUBOPDUMNEM has to take advantage of these lessons, learn from those that fell as a result of a shot on here from Dansku off the corner. And well, we said they have to stay awake. We said they can't get complacent. Can you see any complacency in that shot? Top of the net, no chance there for 3 Rats.
Man, it's such a crucial miss by LCT. They were chasing after a ball that was flying at their corner with 0 boost. Admittedly, a very hard read, but the second they didn't make contact, it enabled an open net for Dansku, and that's one that they weren't gonna miss there from the corner. So another opener, and he's gonna stack it up with the second immediately. Beats 2 in the infield and use the crossbar to slot that one in.
Listen, Quanzek, me and you, here on the team stream, here in the desk, here in the lobby, we can get excited, okay? We can afford to do that right now. I hope the DEKUBOPDUMNEM players are not having that same mentality. We cannot allow them to drop the ball. A 2-0 lead, such a good position. We've seen how far those can turn against the team, of course, in the opening game of the entire day where that was against us. But they have to stay calm. They have to stay focused. They've just got to do it one play at a time. It is looking more and more likely that we can take this back, but a fantastic shot here coming from Ballaris. Will throw this a little bit off the rails here. The Singaporean does well to stretch this one out wide, and Regsa gave everything he had there to try and pull off that save, and still it wasn't enough. Even with these first two opening performances, free rats are still free rats.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be hard to get rid of. They are 3 rats after all, and it just goes to show you I can't, this word has fleed my mind. Perseverance? Perseversity? You know what I'm trying to say. I am having a late night brain fart on my end, so I apologize, but everybody knows what I mean. They're hard to kill. 3 rats are going to find the goal that will cut the lead in half, but Regster has other plans of his own. He'll immediately re-grab that insurance goal and regain that 2-goal lead.
Don't worry, I have you, Quanzek. Take a sip and catch your breath. I know that this is what DEKUBOPDUMNEM can do to a casting desk when they're providing this much action. All the games are so close as well, coming into a series as an underdog against a team that we said were in the ranks for major contention against the likes of LCT, the godfather, I would say here, of APAC, a fantastic player historically and in the present as well. DEKUBOPDUMNEM just showing a different level at the moment in this upper bracket, but still LCT looking to get this play off the corner, finds that space, finds that read as well. Poor us, forced to make a save. I don't think initially he had to do so.
No, a good one at that. I mean, that angle and the pace it came out at was fantastic. But they're gonna continue creeping up on us. LCT repping that Copenhagen major tag. It's well deserved. That goal is maybe one of the easiest of his career, and he's had many. Dropping this lead back to 1 as 3 rats continue to search for the equalizer, but they're not going to get far if they keep on giving it right back. Oh no, that's a massive whiff on the back end, and all of a sudden the door has been slammed shut on the lead, and we're all tied up.
And it feels like one of the GOATs of APAC has awoken in this game, in the past minute as well. We should have seen it coming after that corner read attempt. He is not going to let the likes of these Finnish players take him down in his own region without a fight till the very end. It was foolish of us, the hubris we had to think that this game 2 was perhaps in wraps after that second goal. That 2-goal difference was established, because at the moment it is 3 rats with the offense. Dansku looking to convert it to something for himself. Not much boost of the tank, so it's going to have to be Porsas here in the corner, but there's no follow-up. There's nothing in the tanks of these 3 players, and 3 rats have just been given possession straight back. A few shaky moments coming here from DEKUBOPDUMNEM as this house of cards starts to fall. It's time to build it back up. You have 90 seconds to do so, and you can't allow 3 rats to have that next swipe.
Balleries trying to do what they can on the corner. This next go-ahead goal, as you mentioned, is the most crucial one of maybe the entire series, as we are only in game number 2. Donsko along the corner with a lot of momentum, had some velocity coming out of there, but that play will fall on its face and quickly. Here's Regser from his own corner. Really good possession touch. Has the flip reset. Goes under 1. Tries to chip it over off the bounce, but can't connect. And that enables LCT to sneak in. What do they have up their sleeve? Now, gave over to Regser. This one carried over the top of 1, but K goes to intercept. He immediately goes to backtrack as he recognizes they're the only one back. That Devil's going to open up a lot of space, but still, DEKUBOPDUMNEM is going to go ahead and have their own say in the offensive half. I've only slipped up on that word about 3 or 4 times throughout 2 series, but man, it sneaks up on you, and that's exactly what this team's looking to do right now. Regser has Donsko on the backboard. Can they get over for the redirect? No, not enough pace.
And well, it was a creative attempt there from Dansku. Anyone who's seen his Twitter knows that he's a player that can pull that off on the regular. This one just slightly too tough for him. Final 5 seconds here. DEKUBOPDUMNEM, there's an opening. LCT stretches to make the save. And now he'll be trying to find that counter-attack. Ball high, ball dangerous. Ball Aris back onto it. Porsas has to keep that one out, doesn't go for ground out. There might be a lapse in judgment there from him. Regsa tries to send it to the ground, waiting there, down low, scurrying is one of the 3 rats, and we go to overtime, wanting to put ourselves on match point, wanting to give ourselves this buffer, because this 3 rats team is waking up, and you're gonna need it.
I mean, they're rats, as always, going to be hard to die, going to keep themselves in it, and they can be dangerous. Rats have a very prevalent place in human history, and maybe they're looking to write another page in the book. K, beaten by Donsku. Donsku looking for help from Regser, but it's intercepted by Balleries, the Singaporean, stepping in there before anything can amount to any sort of harm. Balleries yet again the man to call, but Donsku, all of his boost, will get himself there. Regser in the opposite corner, lying in the weights. He goes underneath LCT, and Regser with the dagger in overtime. That's the nail in the coffin.
And DEKUBOPDUMNEM find the knight in shining armor in form of Regsa. Fox in the box for 6-yarder. Completely opened up from that infield pass from Dansku. DEKUBOPDUMNEM 1 victory away from causing the upset of APAC main event.
Oh my. Top 16 was expected for this team. They were a dark horse. They hadn't played in the region before, but they're coming in with a lot of talent behind them. Seed number 37 they were for the open quals. They've made it here to be expected. An upset over 3 rats? Oh my lord, what a way to stamp your arrival here in APAC in the top 8 for the first open. You haven't had to work here. You haven't had to climb this way through the opens. You are here. You came and you conquered immediately in only 4 days. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The job is not done here, Pigasus. There is a lot on the line. We have 3 chances to win and not have to worry about a 3rd series, but we know what 3 rats can do. Don't get complacent now.
Absolutely not. This doesn't feel like we are 2-0 up in a series. It really doesn't. It never does when you're against a team of such quality. Because you know that they can bring it around. You know that they have the capabilities. And if you drop back by just a yard on a play, that's it. 3 rats will punish you, but it's Regsa with the opening attack. I saw a double commit as well coming from 3 rats. We can only hope that they are feeling the pressure, but with the experience of LCT stringing this team together, who knows how this game will continue. The winner, of course, already securing themselves a spot in top 6 here in Open 1 in APAC, and it's a miss from LCT, and Portas will be correct. And the player who I would expect the least on the side of 3 rats to make this kind of mistake allows DEKUBOPDUMNEM to get that free opening. Gods certainly do bleed in the first 31 seconds in the face of a potential sweep.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly for LCT, it's a very difficult ball to read with the pace it was coming from off the ceiling and their car positioning. I think they just jumped too soon. And in doing so, when the ball took a bounce that they weren't expecting, they couldn't reposition, and that's a gimme of an opener for DEKUBOPDUMNEM, and one that you really can't give away, especially in the state of the series that you are in. I will quickly cut away from the action here. I have a very good Finnish friend of mine, Pigasus, who is tuning into this, doesn't watch Rocket League at all, but I love him. Akup, I appreciate you tuning into the series just to support me. You might have a new favorite player on the pitch here. Apparently, Porsos in Finnish means hog or piggy. So, what? Yes.
That is absolutely insane. What a coincidence. And, well, He's not been stuck in the mud. He's been getting down and dirty against the top team in the form of Free Rats. And what a performance he's had so far. Big save there coming from him, just as I mentioned him. There was a miss coming from Dansku, and he isn't able to make up for previous mistakes there. A hair away from getting this clearance. But I must say, the player who I think, if anything, has been the standout for Free Rats has been Baller Reese, and he will be credited for that equalizer.
Yeah, and very good, well-placed shot as well. Porsauce tried to do what they could to buy time in the crease. Donsku got a piece of it, but not before that ball was entirely across the goal line. So now we're all tied up, really given a gift but in the opening goal, but Three Rats have done well to earn their place in this game number 3. With 3 minutes on the clock, who will fight tooth and nail to give themselves the edge? Donsku, really good soaring touch up to themselves. This one jammed forward and looking to be a toss over to LCT. They can't connect though, and Baller Reese gets demoed for his clearance efforts. Donsku, really good 50. That was well timed as well, so there was no bounce back on the contact with that ball. Porsauce across the way, and it's a race. I was going to say foot race, but we're driving cars. Porsauce towards the net. Really good 50 from Baller Reese, and over the top of one again. I mean, he is holding up to the name of being the catalyst for this Three Rats roster.
Oh, and that was a scary opportunity there as LCT looked to cut inside. Baller Reese, but now it's Dansku. He beats one, has LCT to get past as well. He manages to do it, sacrifices himself for the cause. Infield pass, what a play there from Rexer, and Porsauce is ready to collect.
Oh my, I mean, Rexer, the angle of that pass that he finds, he's flying he's perpendicular towards the ball, flying towards the blue corner, and he gets it with his wheels and the back of his car with way more pace than anyone would expect. It's a dime on the hood of his teammate, and a brilliant go-ahead goal for the side of DEKUBOPDUMNEM. They're looking for another. Baller Reese trying to do what they can defensively. LCT off the corner, can't connect, but Porsauce can. It's off the backboard, double tap. He reads the touch from the defense, and still, it's a darling of a goal that he finds.
It's so rare, I'm sent off my seat. I'm standing here watching that goal go in. Porsauce, you are incredible.
I'm at a loss for words, but what speaks for itself is the scoreboard. 3-1 and 90 seconds now on the clock. Almost 4 as Donsku trying for it again. This would be a devastating. Oh, okay. I will eat my words, LCT. I apologize. I spoke. They were on my tongue. I'll pull them back. We're not done yet.
Oh my goodness, don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. Still just under 90 seconds to hold on here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM, but we saw Free Rats do this in game 2 where we felt like we had that 2-goal difference. We felt like it was assured. Of course, there was less time for Free Rats to come back this time. We're looking for that 4th. Kate is just about there. Porsauce, no pass this time. Straight shot on, looking for the postage stamp. Straight into the upper bracket quarterfinals. Rexer back onto it. Baller Reese making that save, and it's just a waste time. This is what we... You heard the tone. 60 seconds remaining. Ball in field, big miss. That would have been the dagger instead. They might concede the Porsauce is back in time. What is going on?
My heart's beating out of my chest right now, Pegasus. LCT turning on a dime. It's a very good challenge on the Porsauce, and he's flicking it in field for Baller Reese, who gets there. It's an equalizing goal by way of a demo and a brilliant infield pass. LCT clears the way, and so the pressure is on for both of these teams. The stakes here is a ticket into the top 8 for DEKUBOPDUMNEM or a tournament life in the upper bracket. They're not done yet. If they lose, that is I'm with 3 Rats. Oh my god, that's bad time to blink, but even better time to peek. Oh my, what a save, and it's still in, Pegasus.
It's just like game 2 all over again. 3 Rats get us concerned, and Porsauce done it again. He this man. He's absolutely insane, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know him, get to know him. It was a great save to follow up, but it was only as great as the shot that faced it. 18 seconds. We're entering the final 15. Those 3 seconds went quick. Every single one feeling so crucial. A 5th goal, of course, would secure it. Lock in for those final 5 seconds. You've got to counter attack. We can throw your air for the race. Play drama. Yet again, the Singaporean causes heartbreak on this side of DEKUBOPDUMNEM. And I have to say it again. Like I've said it so many times before, Quanzek, we are not done.
My hands instantly covered my face. Oh, wait! No, it's not on target. It was going to hit the turf anyways. We're in overtime in game 3. I'll reiterate, a game win here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM is an upset. A ticket to the top 8 and an upset in sweeping fashion. But LCT trying for a double tap. K swooping in. It's a shot by Belarus. That's turned aside the last second by Donsku. Rexer collects. They pick up the full boost and the double to 1v1. It's off the upper 90. The follow-up doesn't connect. And now Poor Sauce is on an island. The ball's played past him. K gets the shot. It's on target. And Rexer somehow gets around LCT.
Catch your breath again. Another shot being thrown on Poor Sauce. Clears it out, and oh my goodness, it's Dansku with boost, space, time. There's a player waiting on the backboard. LCT rises up from the ground to clear this one out. It's that Starman again. Belarus increasing the action, advancing the play here for Rads. Rexer has done so well defensively in this game when the pressure has been applied, and it really feels like now we're not looking for a miracle. We're looking for one of these teams to show a crack. It is almost perfect Rocket League at the moment with little moments of chaos sprinkled into it. LCT flip reset the ceiling. That one's off the crossbar and is red there. Well, but back into the center. Rexer has to find his teammate. Dansku's there, but he loses the dogfight against LCT, and it's every single one of these. All of these 50-50s feel so crucial. That's just the kind of game we've got ahead of us. Every single Unreal unit is crucial if you want to qualify to the top 6.
I feel like every shot I feel like is met by an even better save, no matter which side of the pitch you're on. This really is picture perfect Rocket League right now, which is just the first one to make a mistake and one that can be capitalized on. LCT, what a touch, it's off the ceiling, but K can't get there in time as the water falls down. Rexer beats the final third man, but LCT, the rotation, gets there in time, trying to do his way to bully his way forward. K, the flip doesn't connect, so Belarus has to bail him out. LCT looking for K, it's a little bit too far out in front of him, too much pace on the top of that ball. This one by Poor Sauce, gave it over to Rexer. Donsku, that's a wayward ball to midfield. Can Rexer cut on in time? He can. Rexer, solo play off the corner. 1, 2, 3 touches. Look at the angle. Big assist. That's the dagger. That's the upset. That's the sweep completed for DEKUBOPDUMNEM for the top 8.
What a performance in that overtime from Rexer. Defense, offense, midfield, every blade of grass, every surface, walls, ceiling against a multi-time APAC champion, arguably the greatest Asia-Pacific player in the history of the game, taken down by this full Finnish roster in the upper bracket semi-finals. And Quanzek,
I'm lightheaded, man. Holy.
Top 6 secured with a second life in that quarterfinals. What a story. What a series. And what a performance from all 3 players. That overtime definitely favoring Rexer. But if we're talking about regulation, what was that from Poor Sauce? I have not seen a performance like that in an extremely long time, Quanzek. And this is like one of the first times in my career that I can say this. I think I've been casting for over 2 years now. I'm not sure if I've ever seen anything like that.
Look, Swiss stage, we had a series where Regser took it by storm and absolutely peaked. Man was scoring every time he touched the ball. Porzos put on a masterclass that was almost equivalent to that showing. And Donsku, you know what he's capable of. Maybe he didn't get the spotlight in the 2 streams that we did, but he's going to have his moment. He's going to have the time where he takes over a series, and all the times in between, he's a facilitator, he's an executor, he's the glue for this roster. Regardless, the end result is a Cinderella story for much of the APAC region that was, having doubts about what this DEKUBOPDUMNEM roster was. It's a Cinderella story in which they're all the princesses. They have made it here. I am in awe of what this team has accomplished today, especially in sweeping fashion over the top of 3 rats. They have earned a high seed, a high placement, heading into top 8 in the upper bracket. Wow.
Said at the same time, and if that series was to prove anything, Quanzek, sky's the limit.
Yes.
Sky is truly the limit. If you can beat 3 rats, who else can you beat? Is this top 4's potential? Of course it is. They've got 2 lives in top 6. What a performance we have seen, and to think that this isn't even last series of the day. I would say that there is less at stake for this 3rd one. This is all for seeding. Don't worry, that upper bracket, that bye, that second life in the quarterfinal is all guaranteed. This will just help dictate our opponents, which I do believe will be one of either Elevate or...
Yeah.
Wow.
They've shown...
I think we need a break, Quanzek.
Yes. I will say this much. They have shown their merit against a team that was placed in the top 3 by much of the APAC experts in 3 rats. Does that mean that DEKUBOPDUMNEM can compete for a major spot? If they play how they did in that last series, yes. Easily, yes. But the competition is high and mighty. 3 rats was high and mighty, but they have been pulled down off of their pedestal. So we will see how things play out Saturday and Sunday, as it will be a massive sign of what's to come head into the future with APAC. With all of that being said, we really only covered 7 games, but wow, they might have been the most action-packed 7 games I think I have ever covered.
Yeah, it is certainly up there. What a team, what a performance, and again, what a story. I'm sure a lot of people interested in APAC may be watching back this series, and if you did, I hope you enjoyed. See you in top 6.
Yeah, that'll do it here from us here on the desk. I don't know what the whole team stream or mainstream stuff looks like, but you'll find us somewhere. Keep up to date with DEKUBOPDUMNEM's run. It's Quanzek on Twitter. It's SirPigasus on Twitter. A couple searches can find where we're at. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. Appreciate the players for letting us have us here. DEKUBOPDUMNEM, you guys have played greatly today. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your evenings, nights, mornings, wherever you will be. I know we're in worldwide coverage here, but that'll do it here for us at the DEKUBOPDUMNEM team stream. Thank you all.
Very sick. Proceeding.
Thank you. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm so thrilled about the 7 games. Yeah, I know. Look. We peaked during that cast, I think. There are so many sections of that will end up going on my caster reel. So many.
Upset someone else, Quanzek.
So many.
We've got 0 sec to beat.
Look. There are so many sections of that will end up going on my caster reel. I am so out of it right now. You've heard me misspeak. You've seen how scuffed the production is. We're not going anywhere besides a short break. We have the final game to play against
Come on,
OSEC,
guys.
ZeroSec to determine who gets the higher seed in the top 8. We've already qualified, but it's the difference between seed 1 or seed 3. Yes, seed 1 or seed 3.
Yes.
That will be the
Correct.
difference maker here in this upcoming series. So I'll throw this out again. Don't go anywhere, but we are coming back. Thank you for the correction, Pegasus. I don't know what I'm on. Okay.
I love you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. The Rocket League audio you hear going on in the background is because we already have the test lobby set up and good to go. We are shortly getting underway here in our Bracket B upper finals. Yes, that's correct. Upper finals. This is for seeding between these two teams. They've both already qualified. But what we're worried about now is who gets the better matchup coming out of the opposite bracket, bracket A. So this is the difference between the 1 and the 3 seed. Kind of a big deal. Or I guess the 2 and 4 seed are whatever. I don't know how the seeding of the seeding works, but regardless, it's for a 1 and 2 seed or a 3 and 4 seed. So very different matchups based on which seed you get. Lots to still play for, but our worries about qualifying to the next day are behind us.
Yes, absolutely. It was a great high to come off, of course, that last series against Free Rats. I mean, they were considered a top roster heading into this. They were performing like a top roster beforehand as well, and I believe we gave them their first series loss of the entire Open. And of course, to have that happen in the qualifying match as well in the form of a sweep against, you know, the likes of LCT, it's an absolutely insane feeling. It's a great performance. And the way that the seeding will work is so the upper quarterfinals are guaranteed to be Elevate, Luminosity, DEKUBOPDUMNEM, and Zero Sec, who are our opponents for this match. But essentially, the winner of this series will play the loser of the other one. The loser of this series plays the winner of the other one. It's just like that. And currently, I believe Elevate are leading against Luminosity 1-0. So as it stands, the winner will play Luminosity, but that's very early in that series to try and make that call. But here we are in a completely new series, starting from Fred Regzer, looking to get us off to a great start. And it's Dansku, who is very intrigued in continuing the string of upsets. Look at the talent on the other side. Breezy, Kevin, and Darku. To be able to take them down would be a huge achievement.
Yeah, a very talented roster on the other side. The scuffness, I will briefly say this continues on our side. Hazza, you have me beat with production as I have to worry about the overlay yet again. But I don't have to worry about DEKUBOPDUMNEM playing well. An early 1-0 lead. Make it 2-0 as Rexer's going to fight an open net.
And look, I will let Zero Sec have the lead in production as long as we have the lead in the series. That's all I really care about here on the broadcast. But what a fascinating team we have on the other side in paper. Of course, Kevin and May, iconic APAC player by this point, definitely up there as one of the funniest pros, but he is a serious contender as well. And you see him on Darku, a player who looked like he was going to relegate himself to a sub spot for this season. He's always been a high contender. He's done well in European tournaments, especially as well. And it's great to actually see him on a main team because I feel like that level of talent should never be relegated to a spot. It's glad to see him on the team. And of course, Breezy. I mean, that's a player who's been in the scene for such a long time now. And of course, his contribution to the scene, we do thank him for. But in this opening minute, very one-sided for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. And I must say, it's been more than a shaky start here for Zero Sec. This has been quite out of character for them, for a team that I believe have swept their way into this position and also went 3-0
what a save
in their series in Swiss. Almost made it 4. And well, I would love for you to try and explain to me what is happening in this opening, because again, it's a double commit happening there, and Zero Sec look all out of shape.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can explain it any better than you can. Zero Sec look like they're coming off. I don't know if it's just they're feeling comfortable and they're not on top of their game, or it was a very easy series previously. I will tell you, these two played against each other in day number 2 of quals, and
Wow.
DEKUBOPDUMNEM dropped it 3-1 in like they lost 3-1 in the series. And the goal differential was massive as well. 2 of those games, one was like 7-2, the other one 6-1. So Zero Sec dominated DEKUBOPDUMNEM come Saturday. And the script has flipped itself on its head here as we're searching for our 4th. Regzer hits the post off that infield passing play. But Zero Sec looks slow. They're getting beat to almost every single ball. And when they do get the ball finally out of their half, they're not able to really do much with it.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see real signs of Zero Sec playing well, like Zero Sec have done for the rest of the opener. Musty flick there coming from Dansku. Doesn't challenge Kevin too much, but he's still able to get that clearance. Darku gets it on target. It's not the greatest attempt there coming from Dansku. It feels like whatever bug Zero Sec have had in the opening few minutes just temporarily rubbed off on Dansku there.
Yeah, the very uncharacteristic miss, but this game has felt very slow in terms of pace comparative to what we've seen for our previous 7 games. I mean, you and I were getting all sorts of adrenaline pumped through our bodies for the last games. In this one, our casting has been rather laissez-faire, just as a result of the pace of play and the rather, like, melancholic, like, carole that this game pace has had. And so maybe that's affecting Dansku, maybe the other team's play is rubbing off on him. Regardless, we do still hold a 2-goal lead after they've cut the deficit down by a 1/3. That's a really good challenge there, and that means Porsas has to sink back towards the opposite corner. Really good touch, opening touch there by Dansku. Can't follow it up with that flick over the top of Kevin, but Regzer can. Good 1-2. Won't amount to anything, though, pressure-wise.
And Regs will keep his way into this one. Look to play this one off the ceiling. What a second touch. Oh, what a way to get yourself onto a 3-goal difference. Having a little bit of fun here. That is so classy. He bumps and he accidentally pogos off that back wall. That didn't seem intentional, more a follow-up of his first touch. But to be able to recover yourself to finish the job as well, that's just something special. That's something that's passed across from that last series as well. And DEKUBOPDUMNEM might be looking to pull off another upset. But one thing we were talking about before heading into this series is it's very unusual stakes, I would say. Both of these teams are guaranteed upper bracket in the quarterfinal, and seeding, you have to play either Elevate or Luminosity. And to anyone that isn't PED, those are still 2 of the best teams in the region on paper.
And, you know, maybe that's like a grain of salt that you take with how this game's gone for as well. Both these teams are happy with the end result that they have no matter what. They're qualified through to top 8 in the upper bracket, right? So at this point, maybe this is why we're getting the lull. There's no more pressure on them. There's no more need to succeed because they've already done what they came out to accomplish. And whether, I mean, pick your poison between Luminosity and Elevate. They should both be incredible opponents on the opposite ends, which leads to a very challenging opening series, regardless of who you pull. In the interim, though, it will be Mr. Flick himself cutting our lead down to 2 goals. 30 seconds on the clock does mean there is some life in this OSEC team, but they need to get something going and soon.
It's been a bit of a lethargic start, to be completely honest with you, from Zero Sec, and it feels like they're getting themselves more into the swing of things as this game has continued. And I think we're going to be slowly moving towards a more regular series between these players. Those shots comes off. Dansku, great save there on the goal line. Portas will get the touch to send this one forward, and with 7 seconds left, it looks like this game should surely be in the bag unless the caster does play an effect. Oh my goodness, Regzer going for the Psycho as well in the final seconds. But overall, you know, it's a win here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM, but it's one of those that's very hard to really give its full respect and analyze because it was just such a shoddy start coming from 0sec. And the only reason I'm so open to give them this much criticism is because that's not a team that does that. That's not a team that has done that. That is definitely the first time we've seen that this season.
Yeah, there is a situation here where, you know, we were coming into this expecting, I think personally I would have listed 3 rats higher than OSEC. OSEC on my own personal tier list, but this is not like a slouch. Don't take my words and twist them to mean something else. Absolutely. That doesn't mean that this is like a slouch of a team. What this means is that this should be, in my mind, what would be a more even series and lead us to 4 or 5 games, which is honestly what I was expecting out of the previous one. But the showing there was rather lackluster and just really, it was odd to watch. Because you know both of these teams had to have been coming off of a heater, right? And for their it felt like we just went down an entire rank. The pace of play was slow. Everybody's really just, it seems like we're out for a Sunday stroll as opposed to trying to get a higher seed in RLCS, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, again, it a really hard performance to analyze on both sides as well, because DEKUBOPDUMNEM didn't really get the opportunity to show too much. I know Porsas got that really impressive goal coming off the ceiling and getting back to Wrexham, like go for the bump straight out of the opening as well. But I feel like with a fresh start in this second game, we'll have some fresh eyes and see how this resets. You can already feel a bit of pace increase here coming from 0sec as they have the first real attack of the game. Challenges here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM, and yep, that's more like it from Kevin.
Yeah, they're coming out of game 2, and we've talked all call long about what a wake-up call can mean for these teams, and maybe that was it for this roster in game number 1. They come out of the gates with some early pressure, immediately look like they have a new spring in their step, and looking hungry to get out on the board first. So they're basically taking the ball, throwing it into DEKUBOPDUMNEM's court, and saying, hey, it's your turn. Answer it. We're here to play now, as they tally their second one by way of Dooku.
Yeah, that's a great goal there from Darku. Positions himself perfectly, knows when to throw himself forward to those kinds of plays. And it was a lot of confidence shown there after what was a game 1, which I don't think filled them with many. This is definitely more of a 0sec team would expect. There's more life into it. Straight out the gates here in the first minute, and DEKUBOPDUMNEM have a battle back onto their hands. They're back to being the underdogs, and that touch from Darku, I think, really shows the night and day difference between those first 2 games so far.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and agree with you there, and my late night misspeaking continue. I know the name of Darku, but I've read Dooku and I couldn't process hash that out of my head. So I appreciate the
spelling. He does not like his characters. Let me tell you. I mean, we've got DEKUBOPDUMNEM. Can we really be complaining about pronunciations because here on stream? Yes, we can, because the top team does what they want.
These after this slate of coverage, I'm sure I'll be clipping together every single time DEKUBOPDUMNEM was said into a short little snippet. I'm sure it'd do numbers, but for the interim here, it is that team themselves looking for a way back into this game. DEKUBOPDUMNEM, that's not going to help when Regster's demoed on the way towards the offensive. Darku touch over Porsas. You saw him screaming in like it was 3D. They'll demo him, and Kevin pre-flip save, but the net's open. Darku able to sink in and find one of his own.
And Darku has played excellently in this second game. A few saves there on goal line. All these sidewalls, he seems to have them read perfectly. He's getting them skimmed so well without missing it, which is such a tough thing to do. You have to get that perfect balance, not heavy-hand it, and have it fly off the ceiling back to your opponent. And Breezy was profiting as well. And it's that player I was just mentioning, Deku, getting the third goal of the game here for ZeroSec, but it comes off the back of what was a really nice double tap pass there coming from Breezy. It's been varying performances in between these first two games, and it feels like DEKUBOPDUMNEM are getting a bit of a taste of their own medicine. Not that they've been performing bad per se, but it's just another rather one-sided scoreline tipping to the other side.
Yeah, and this is, you know, it's, I think, more than anything, yes, I want a higher seed, but since we're already qualified, what I want as a caster, and I understand I'm on the DEKUBOPDUMNEM team stream, so, like, if this is heresy, then I apologize. But I want a good series. Both these teams are quality teams, and hopefully, as we round out this game number 2 and head into game number 3, we get a rebound from both these rosters as we officially waken up, and that's kind of just filthy from Kevin. I gotta swallow some of the bile that came up. That's how gross it was. Just the fake there. Holds his flip, catches it, and able to bury an open net by way of his own doing.
It was like time stood still there during that fake, using that moment just to check his phone, if you know, you know, and then look back up and put the ball in the back of the net. He's done really well in this game. It's just been a step up all round, and all I said, DEKUBOPDUMNEM didn't have as bad of a performance as their opponents did in that first game, but plays like that definitely have me questioning it. It reminds me quite a lot actually of our first game of the day against Rounds, where as soon as the scoreline got a little bit too far, you could see DEKUBOPDUMNEM just throwing the kitchen sink at them, but just lacking, I think, a little bit of that lacking a little bit, sorry, of that composure when it comes to that third man and having one all available. Because even when you want to play attack, so much of that can come from your third man, who will have a little bit of space when these heavy clearances come forward. And we've just not had that. And it was the same against Rounds in game 1. And, well, ZeroSec will be happy to see it here in game 2.
Yeah, and they did this in Swiss stage as well. The second they went down by more, like 4 goals or more, less than or greater than or equal to 4 goals, this team really just sends everybody forward in hopes that they just start converting. It is an admirable strategy because you're still fighting to get into this game any real way you know how. But it does leave you get burned on the back end, as we'll see yet again here. 6-0 on the scoreboard for OSEC. So, you know, has a ground zero. Anybody over there on that stream, if you guys are watching, maybe you're, you know, we did have some choice words about OSEC in that opening game, and you can throw them right back our way. Yeah, we're not gonna dish it if we can't take it. DEKUBOPDUMNEM just looking out of shape in this game number 2, and I'm really expecting both teams to really have a wake-up call once we reset in our third 5-minute frame.
And I'm just going to temporarily look away from this game and allow DEKUBOPDUMNEM to have some privacy, to, you know, maybe splash some cold water after that second game and actually look at the other upper bracket final. I wanted to be in a position where we said we know who we would play if we got a victory or we got a loss from this series. However, Elevate and Luminosity have gone all the way to 5. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when we said pick your poison, we really meant it. These two teams looking as strong as 99.9% of us, I would say, expected them to be. And no matter what, it's going to be a very tough upper bracket quarterfinals for these two teams. And I feel like they've just got to use this opportunity to put themselves in the best shape before that match tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's how we should start rephrasing this matchup, right? Like, you're going to scrim, but you will not have a game that has this pressure until you play again tomorrow night. And when you know your opposition is one of Elevate or Luminosity, you don't want a slow start like we saw out of DEKUBOPDUMNEM earlier today. So having a different sort of style swagger about you as you end today into tomorrow might be a really good boon, because this is really your quote-unquote warm-up for two of the best teams in APAC waiting for you in the top 8.
Yeah, I feel like this final series, this upper bracket final, would feel so much more impactful if it wasn't Elevates versus Luminosity all stuffed into one group. I can imagine that, say, Elevates were in A and Luminosity were in B. The teams on the other side here in the upper bracket final would really be wanting to take that first chance to get that victory. Whereas this time, either way, you're potentially facing the top 2 teams here in the region. And I know a certain someone will be arguing, maybe he'll change his mind if he's watching that upper bracket final at the moment. For now, however, it is 1-1 in this specific series between DEKUBOPDUMNEM and Zero Sec. It has been, you know, a bit of a back and forth affair in a fashion you do not see all too often at this level of the game, but game 3 has potential to throw some more surprises.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's all we can expect out of either one of these rosters. That I think we really just have 6 different forms of peakers on the pitch right now who can take charge of this game at any given moment. And DEKUBOPDUMNEM, this strategy is definitely coined by them. They're aggressive, they're swarming, and that's a wayward flight there by Regsir trying to get that ball before it climbed up along his own backboard. Luckily, no danger will come of it, but was spooky for a second though. A little bit haunting there. This one now going to be worked on by Darku. Breezy set to chase, only a penny to his name, but it's enough. Cash that one into the bank. It's an open net to look at.
And Breezy getting that opening goal in this third game. It took a bit more time to see that first blood drawn here from DEKUBOPDUMNEM. It's felt relatively even for a majority of this game so far. Sec, first team to make that breakaway, but we know that once they got that first goal, just like I was about to say, they pick up so much momentum. And well, immediately after the first goal was scored, Darku gives them another.
Yeah, Poor Sauce opted for a very wide angle after collecting that corner boost and ended up losing out to the sharp cut by Darku. Didn't make any contact, and this is unfortunately akin to what we saw in game number 2. The first one was scored, then the floodgates open, but Donsku, Captain Clutch, deciding to, you know, sway things back in their own favor, gets a flip reset underneath one, and then picks his place on the net perfectly out of the reach of the final defender. So DEKUBOPDUMNEM doing better than they did in the previous game to keep this one close.
Absolutely, I would say so far this has been the closest open that we've seen so far between these two teams. Of course, it was very one-sided beforehand, unfortunately, in those first 2 games, but now this feels like a real battle at the top from 2 teams that have already qualified themselves top 6. They're looking ever closer now to being 2 top 6, albeit that's a very open net coming out here. Breezy popping it high, and just a pre-jump there coming from Kevin, and Darku caught all the way up the pitch there, which has allowed us to get that equalizer. And now it's time to flip this game again and again and again off the top of its head, and oh my goodness, I'm starting to get dizzy.
Yeah, but what I will say is it does seem like we have our first valid game that you can actually, like, analyze and look at in this series, as Poor Sauce tasked with a very challenging save. We're halfway through, we're equalized, and it feels like both teams are finally awake and competing, trading blows now. Poor Sauce, another touch, but uses all of his boost to get there. Toss over to Breezy. He's looking to drop this down for Darku. Regsir, other plans in mind. It's a banging touch by Donsku. Ricochets off the ceiling. Poor Sauce follow-up off the ceiling. Can he get there? Looking for the dunk. Any sort of contact onto Kevin's touch, but it was ambitious at best. Still, though, not allowing Zero Sec to break out, and that means this pass can make its way through, but Poor Sauce bumped out before that one could find its way with contact on his card.
Forsas tries to find a player centrally, but Breezy able to interrupt. Dansku in his own corner, looking to try and make a breakaway. These two teams now equal. It is the most tense that he's felt in quite some time. This isn't one team running away from it. You have to fight to take the lead, and Breezy has found his opportunity here. Big 50-50s coming between Darku and Dansku, and it feels like the player who did less was the one that came out on top. It was a good collection there from Breezy as well. The lead back in the hands of ZeroSec. DEKUBOPDUMNEM in that familiar position this game of trying to either chase back equality or sit within it.
Oh, what a shot, and what an even better save there. I feel like it's the first time this whole series I've actually had to raise my voice in an elevated fashion for a call. An impossible ceiling flip reset shot for Darku, and a clutch save all inside their own net by DEKUBOPDUMNEM. Infield pass to Regzer. He's north of the crossbar, but the follow-up isn't. And we're tied up with exactly 60 seconds on the clock.
And they finally find that breakaway. Regzer off the crossbar. Porsar so good on the follow-up, and well, you said elevated. I feel like you called the winner in the other group without realizing it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Elevate take a victory in Game 5 versus Luminosity. It is official that the winner of this series will go on to face LG, and the loser will go on to play Elevate. And at the moment, it looks like Porsas might have put DEKUBOPDUMNEM in the position to potentially face LG.
That was such an awkward sequence. Regzer gets a piece of that and nothing more. And somehow Porsas is able to redirect his car to get another touch on that ball, and Breezy realizes this too late, flips backwards, ends up getting a piece, but turns into really I mean, I guess an own goal if you want to call it that, but he had to make any sort of contact that he could have. So lead is in the hands of DEKUBOPDUMNEM now. Dansku off the ceiling to Regzer. Look at them connecting like they're freestyling out here. Breezy, he can do some of that himself. We've seen it, bro. As a mechanic named after him alone. Good beat by Dansku. He doesn't have any help, though. So this means the door is open. Maybe not. That shot, the rebound attempt in the demo leads to the cushion for DEKUBOPDUMNEM.
Gosh, I've cast a curse so many times again today, especially when we play against free runs. I'm going to say it, I'm confident that this game is in our hands. Go on, I'll play the cards, I'll play the superstition. Come at me, Rocket League gods. Let's see what you've got. You cannot stop DEKUBOPDUMNEM when they're ahead by 2 goals with 10 seconds remaining. It's over, there we go. Match points secured here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. This next game is crucial, and we know that both of these teams can definitely have moments, I think it's fair to say, both in a positive and a negative sense, but ZeroSec especially can push themselves higher up to a different level. So I feel like we're in that similar position. It feels like when we were 2-0 up actually against that free Reds, where you still just have that feeling in the back of your mind that ZeroSec could pull something out and bring this game back. And remember, if we are to lose our next game, it's Game 5. All pressure on the cards. It is that tight. It's not a best of 7 for this upper bracket final, as that title is typically attributed with, of course, this is the GSL stage. And DEKUBOPDUMNEM, I'd love them to get it done in this next game, because wow, what a statement that would put on the rest of the region. I saw some tweets before this series started saying that we have single-handedly ruined every single prediction that people have thrown out there. And you know what? Let's throw in another spanner for the works and get this win. It would be so impressive, and I feel like we're going to be, you know, considered one of the teams of the tournament.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the dark horse of this tournament that ruins. I'm an American, so this is an American reference, but all of the March Madness brackets that get put out every single year, the 32 teams that are competing, it is a nationwide thing, probably a worldwide thing as well, as basketball is not just exclusively limited to the States. But we are that team that ruins those brackets, and I'm with you. Let's, you know, go all the way. Don't just stop here. Go ahead and book your ticket into the top 4. Make it a runaway train. That game 3, very crucial win in the best of 5 series. And I'm sure just as much as we want this one to be closed out, the players do as well. Don't tempt ZeroSec with the game number 5. This roster is very talented, and they can turn on a moment's notice, as Breezy does just there, turning, immediately hunting a demo instead of trying to collect that ball that was already behind him. Poor Sauce 1v1, and Breezy will handle that one into his own corner.
Demos all over the pitch here, and it's going to be a stretched ball here from Poor Sauce to bring this one into the corner. Not the best touch there coming from Breezy either, and Poor Sauce, yet again, really getting stuck in the early stages of this game 4, but now on the breakaway again is Gans on his own back wall. He might send it all the way. Darky though should have no troubles clearing that one out. Looks to find a teammate, gets a blue car instead. Oh, well, what a shake in the plan that one was. Poor Sauce can't keep up, unfortunately. No boost left in the tank, but collecting that mid-right and get involved. The next play thereafter, again, Regza looking for a teammate in center. No one is quite there to collect. And something I absolutely love about these 3 players is, look, not everything is going to go to plan. It's a physics-based team. You're against a physics-based game. You're against some very tough opponents. But they're so good on the recovery. They always have a B plan, whether it's in a specific play or the general game score. You can never really see the end of them. And I don't right now, even after that session.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. It's really a multifaceted team, any which way you look at it. I mean, they can get the job done any number of ways, and in a way that is unpredictable. This one, though, very predictable. Breezy double tap. It was poised all the way from the midfield, and nobody could go up to challenge him because of that demo on the back line. Breezy does well to capitalize there. So 2-0 for ZeroSec. Has 0 holding true in their name. But, you know, how many times have we been in this position, been able to rally back? I mean, there's also, I think, the same amount of times we've lost, but you gotta stay optimistic. Poor Sauce. Can't make contact. I thought that was it.
But to even say that that's a record that we hold close to equal is better than a majority of teams.
Yes.
Usually, once you go behind 2 goals, that's already such an uphill battle to fight from. And the fact that DEKUBOPDUMNEM, you always feel like they have a chance to grab it back, just really shows the personalities of these players, the mentalities, and the general consistencies overall. But oh my goodness, what a play there coming from ZeroSec. You gotta sit back, put your hands up and say, GG, what a there from Darku and Kevin. Positioned perfectly to do so as well. The Copenhagen major contender brings ZeroSec 3 goals into the lead, and DEKUBOPDUMNEM not looking for game 5, but looking they'll be forced to that point if they can't clutch up in this second half.
Yeah, I mean, I almost didn't want to talk about that goal at all. It spoke for itself with the tic-tac-toe play that ZeroSec set up. Darku looking for a fourth, putting his nose right behind that ball in order to force its way in, but Regzer even better positioning on that save. So they're still fighting, they're still clawing their way back in, but time is not on their side, especially with passing plays like this. Oh my gosh! It's clinical from ZeroSec, and you have to throw flowers where they're deserved. The pass and the delay from Breezy. Just filthy.
Wow. Yeah, that's disgusting. Again, credit where credit's due. These players really showing their experience, especially Breezy. Been in the scene for such a long time, and to be able to keep that close and beat 2 plays, got such a good turn on it. I mean, we know that, especially on the ground, he's one of the most dangerous players out there. He's just so impressive. He's always got an ace in his sleeve. He showed it off. Wow. Again, what a way to make it 4. But 1 goal back there coming from Poor Sauce. It's a nice infield pass yet again coming from Regza. 0 boost in the tank, but look at how he made do. Cheeky little play and a nice one for the comp.
That setup pass by Regzer to himself was kind of immaculate. 0 boost.
Beautiful.
That one goes to the ceiling and hits an area of the ramp on the ceiling where it's going to come back down off the wall, but to a point where he can get it with enough power into the middle. I mean, that is a play that fully encapsulates the mechanical prowess you have to have in this game when you have more than 10,000 plus hours, I'm sure. That was a thing of beauty, and one that he won't get nearly enough credit for just because it wasn't a mechanical goal from start to finish off his own hood. But the past deserves all the praise in the world. With that being said, this game is still down in the hole. So while it was a fabulous play, the deficit's still 3. Regzer looking to make it 2. Off the backboard, Darku there to collect, and a chip forward by Kevin. Darku can follow up on this. Uses all of his boost to get there. Demoed as a result, but I feel like it's just formalities at this point with the posturing that Zero Sec have. They're so deep in their own half. They may let up 1, but I don't know if they're going to let up 3. This is a start, though! Donsko rattles the post.
Oh, I say unlucky, but of course, you just have to get those ones on target. It's just going to be what feels like a bit of a punch for the Dutch players. Of course, I don't think they felt like they were going to be able to come back with the time goal would have went in. But again, it's all about that confidence. It's all about that mental aspect of the game. We've seen how much of an important factor that has been in previous performances. And well, they're going to need to be at tip-top shape because both upper bracket finals for this first Open are going all the way to Game 5. And to think that DEKUBOPDUMNEM are one of those teams as part of these battles, again, it is really, really impressive. And just one thing I wanted to talk about that last game, Quanzek. Definitely one of the most entertaining ones we've seen before, and not for the same reason we've seen beforehand. The game against Free Rats, that really felt like a war. That felt like both of these teams clashing swords and just trying to hack through each other. That last game here in the upper bracket final, there was an elegance to it. There was a beauty with how all of those goals went in. There was the odd demo every now and again, but that wasn't really what made the difference. It was these just frankly beautiful passing plays coming between these players. There was, of course, the fake coming from Kevin, the dribble coming in from Breezy as well. Again, all assisted plays as well. There was just something really special about that last game. It felt like it was war done in the form of ballet. I don't know if you've ever gone to theater and seen that before, but that's what that matchup felt like to me. If I try and describe it at all, very unusual, but my goodness, what a lovely match to watch. It would have been even better if we took that victory, but of course, it builds up a lot better for the Game 5.
Yeah, and you know, I do agree with your take there. Last series against Three Rats was grimy. Maybe it's the good way to put it. It was dirty. Players got down in the mud. It was physical. It was adrenaline filled. And I think elegant is the perfect word that you used for this series. First 2 games were rather sleepy, but we've seen team plays bloom in games 3 and 4, and it's almost like they're putting on a pre-top 8 display for what these team plays can look like for either roster. So we'll get into it here. Game number 5. This is our last 5-minute slate that we will cover today. The winner goes ahead and plays Luminosity. Right?
What a reward.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
The
winner will go on to play Luminosity.
Yeah, winner plays Luminosity.
In the next round.
Loser will play Elevate in the top 4 upper side of the bracket. It's a lose-lose situation, and I don't know. Pick your poison, man. I don't know if I'd want either.
I just think I'd want to get the win here, just simply for the sake of having it, especially if you are DEKUBOPDUMNEM. You've already gotten a victory that would have been considered by many regards, of course, as a bit of an upset. To do that again against Zero Sec. Again, this series for me is just all about the statement that you can give to the rest of the region, to the rest of your opponents. And who knows, maybe LG and Elevate will be looking at this team and be thinking, look, we underestimated you. Did you just see that save from Regza? Try and face us, we'll bite back.
Yeah, and I mean, I think both these teams here are putting on a good display of, like, why they deserve this. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Look at the poise from Donsko. I thought he was in danger, but I made more noise than I'm sure he did in the own voice call. He collected that with one touch, waited for the opposition to come flying by him, and then carried on about his business. I think, and, you know, maybe some teams have had some off days. Who knows? But what I will say, the takeaway for me here is, in both upper finals, both series going to 5 says something. That that all 4 teams are an equal enough level to force each other to game number 5, and they've made it to this point, getting through several teams in order to wind up there. So maybe we have the correct 4. Maybe it's not the correct 4 for the entire season, but for the open 1, I think you have to solidify these as your top 4 teams, but we'll see what that looks like heading into Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, of course, they still are going to have to battle in the lower bracket, whichever teams loses in the uppers, so it's not quite yet top 4 secured. But if I was to look at this all at a distance, I would definitely say that I think this is fair with these performances. It's not like these teams have had easy runs to get to this point, and that goes all the way back to even the Swiss. Zero Sec managing to go 3-0 there in what was quite a tough group is so impressive in its own regard. DEKUBOPDUMNEM as well, going 3-1 and then beating the likes of Free Rats as well to kind of trump that spot as well. I think it speaks volumes, and I hope that the rest of the community will be able to see that.
Yeah, it's well-deserved honors that every team's way should come at this point. Elevate and Luminosity had their roses, but as it stands right now, I think DEKUBOPDUMNEM and Zero Sec still earning theirs. The caliber of players everybody knew, but their performance was a question mark, and here they are showing out against each other. We haven't talked much about the game. That's because it's been a deadlock, although maybe it's broken now. The second I flick back to it, it's 2 committing from DEKUBOPDUMNEM, which leads to an enabled infield pass. They were reading the shot, not the pass, and that gives Kevin a look at the net. 1-0 after what was a very tightly played game. So now pressure on DEKUBOPDUMNEM.
And again, it was a cheeky little passing play coming from those 3 players there. But hold on, Breezy with a shot. That one just rebounds off the post there and still keeps hope alive here for DEKUBOPDUMNEM. Seconds left on the clock as we look to approach this final minute. 0 Sec, a single lead. It's on shaky ground here, but at the moment it would be foolish to say that they haven't had the majority of the possession of 3-man passing play, though, was what was required to beat through. It might be our turn. 1-2. Where's the third? Just beaten there, but now Dansku has space, has boost. Not much time, however, as Darku was quick up to bat when there was also a second player waiting on that back wall. They know how Dansku likes to play in these kinds of positions. Breezy, musty flick to try and send this one across to Dansku, but Regza on the counter. Has he found the target? Not quite, but that's on the best touch. No touches there coming from Dansku. He's looking for the top corner. Regza will settle for that double tap. What a way to bring yourself back to equal, and it's Regza yet again with the showmanship.
Regza, I mean, that picturesque play all the way from his own half, the booming clear to the other side, nobody touches it, and he puts that ball in a place where it looks like a shot, but only he knows it's coming back his way for the double tap. So this is as tight as you could get for game number 5. Breezy off the backboard. Darku gonna give way for Kevin, looking for a double tap. Does he have the angle? It's off the upper left 90 and out, but Donsko has zero boost to get a touch. Poor Sauce allows Regza to take over. Regza collects the full. This could turn into an opportunity. Darku sitting there waiting. That's a wayward ball, though. Can Poor Sauce? He's lofting in there. It's over. It's on. No. Oh my! It's off the crossbar down. It stays out, and we have overtime in game 5.
Make the most of it. You've gotten away with an opportunity that realistically you know in your heart of hearts you perhaps didn't quite deserve, but Zero Sec couldn't go all the way. That was their problem. Completely open net chance wasted. Now in this overtime, you've fallen to this team before in day 2. It is time for revenge here in the upper finals. 30 seconds into this overtime, we can already feel these two teams shaken up from that past play, but it seemed to kick this DEKUBOPDUMNEM team into action. Big clearance coming out here, and waiting, of course, was Dansku. Able to collect this one. Poor Star sending it on the 50. Dansku slams this one down, but Zero Sec will confidently take this one out. A bit too heavy-handed. Gregsa is able to get the touch it coming in. He get past Portas. You're not gonna break past Portas without a second, third chance. 1v1. He's got it on lock at the moment. More things fly through, but eventually Daku puts the nail in the coffin. Just like the play on 0 seconds, it is another open net. This one certainly not going to waste. GG's in chat for all 6 players. Great respect shown by these two sides that put on an absolute show for the final series of the day. And well, Quanzek, we do come out as the losers, so unfortunately we will be playing Elevate in the upper quarter finals. But luckily, we won't be playing LG. Pretty strange how that works out.
Look, the stakes for this upper finals here in bracket B, there was something on the line, but I think no matter who you talk to, those stakes are going to change for every single person. Elevate and Luminosity are going to sit at the top of the table, and I feel like the opinions of each person will be different. So I think personally, we played a good game. I thought we were going to win a couple of times there in overtime. We were just too starved on 0 boost, but I do think we draw the better opponent between the two. I'm not an Elevate hater to the same degree Ped is. Let me get this straight, okay? Ped, no, I like Elevate. I think they're a talented roster. The difference, I personally think Luminosity has the higher ceiling. I understand they just lost to Elevate. That's my opinion. It's not fact. It's not, I'm not willing to die on this hill either. It's something that could sway and change. That's just my take. A very fun day today overall. It does end in a series loss, but one that, I don't know. You saw where my mind was at headed into this series. I was setting us away for the day. Like, all this feels like is just carrying on from that of like, oh yeah, we're just here to have fun and like good vibes, and oh wow, you guys can be the 1 seed, we'll be the 3 seed, that's okay. I don't know, man. It's good times all around.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting how this bracket ended up lining up. I feel like when you looked at that Group A and saw that it had both Luminosity and Elevate in it, I feel like most people, myself included, just assumed that was going to be the upper bracket final. I'm excited to see it go all the way to 5. I was excited, of course, to see this series go all the way to 5, because all that means to me, Quanzek, is APAC is stupidly competitive this season. So many teams flying out the gates with so much potential, and I will mention them. Like, we did sweep 3 Rats. I would say that was not 3 Rats playing at their full potential. Of course, they were, I feel like, kind of found out there by DEKUBOPDUMNEM in that match, where maybe we were a little bit underestimated in that series. I don't think they're going to make that same mistake again. They did get a 3-1 victory in the lower bracket against Crazy Boys. There's a game 5 between Godspeed and Rounds, which dictates where that final spot goes to. But overall, I think DEKUBOPDUMNEM came here today with a task to do, and all it was to qualify to tomorrow. And we exceeded that and more,
Mhm.
beating 3 rats via a sweep. Via a sweep. This is not
Yeah.
just beating them. This is, well, I don't want to say tearing apart. If you watch the games individually, they were
close.
extremely close.
Yes.
But getting 3 in a row versus the likes of LCT at his home ground, extremely shocking. And of course, game 5 against 0 Sec as well, another team which everyone knew was going to be a very strong roster, is another prediction that I don't think many other people would have had. We've definitely been the team to ruin everyone's brackets, and I tell you what, I hope we continue to do so in top 6.
I cannot agree with you more. It's what I think everybody in the region should come to expect of this team now. They have earned their stripes. Give them their flowers. DEKUBOPDUMNEM has made their presence known, and I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. That will do it here today from us. Officially, I'm not going to introduce us back yet again after my earlier mistake. 3 series, 2 wins, 1 game 5, 1 game 4, and 1 game 3. We really covered
Wow.
everything you could. Exactly. Very much so. Almost every range of possibilities you could have possibly had. DEKUBOPDUMNEM is a team to look out for. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Deku. I got through the entire stream. I can't say it now. Thank you, DEKUBOPDUMNEM, for allowing us to cover you guys. And that will do it here from us. I'll throw it over to you one last time, Pegasus. If you want to plug anything, if you want to shout out anything, what are you up to? What are you doing? Give them your news.
Absolute pleasure to be here. Follow my Twitter for more RLCS announcements, and I'm sure the same can be said for Quanzek as well. Shout out to Dansku as well for letting us come to a stream and do this broadcast, and full credits to the rest of the team as well. This has been myself and Quanzek showing you the most impressive team of the tournament compared to previous expectations. I'll just give us that title. DEKUBOPDUMNEM out. We'll see you on mainstream in the top 6.